All right. What's going on, everybody? And really, I have a lot to say, but at the same time, I really don't even know how you put it at this point because we see this year after year from this team. We see it year after year. It doesn't matter who is really in charge. It feels like this is the conversation you've been having since 17. And this was an absolute fucking embarrassment today. This was absolute garbage that was out on that field today. There was no effort, there was no heart, there was no will to win. The Falcons went out there at home nonetheless and laid down to a 1-6 football team. To a team that had basically been had one foot out the door on its season. Coach one foot out the door. Quarterback they paid a lot of money to. They're talking about benching. It was an absolute disaster, but yet we let them come in here today. We didn't just let them win. We let them run amok all over us all game. Defense got uh basically put to shame in a fucking track race. And the offense, oh boy. The offense. Man, if y'all need any more proof that these people are not NFL coaches, Raheem Morris, Zach Robinson, these people, they're not NFL coaches. They're not showing to be NFL coaches. We have now seen through 7 weeks in this season the Falcons twice in the 2 games that it was a consensus they should win. Come out and have shit running down their legs for all 4 quarters. And it leads to an absolute embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to the fans who show up to the games. It's an embarrassment to pretty much every Falcons fan out there. But man, if y'all are at these games like me, like some of these other people, you'll really know that this isn't just sitting down and watching this thing and getting mad at a TV. This is actually being there and experiencing it. And that is where the disappointment comes from because for so many years we've been looking at things to get us hyped up for the season. What can we look forward to? We all love the Falcons. So okay, what do we have to look forward to for this season? Is it maybe the new additions that we have on defense? Is it we paid a quarterback a lot of money? We drafted a young quarterback. We have all these offensive weapons. And then you come out and see for about the first 5 or 6 weeks, you'll always see the Falcons come out. You'll see, and you could really see it be whatever. But overall, the Falcons tend to come out of those first 6 weeks, still with enough promise to have fans waiting for them, have fans defending them, have the fans believing. We saw it after the Buffalo game. This team, they looked like they had finally arrived, that they were going to start going on a roll, that they had learned from their mistakes in the Carolina game. And then you see in San Francisco, they get brought back down to reality, they get humbled, and then you come home versus Miami. And let me be very clear. I don't care if Jesus Christ was playing for this team and his legs snapped the week prior. This team that you were playing, a Miami team that just the week prior went up to Cleveland and got absolutely a train ran on them. 1-6, quarterback, head coach calling out each other, airing all the dirty laundry out, you should win that game. I don't care who it is. And you're at home, you should win that game. But yet only the Falcons. See, it's one thing in the NFL. These are all professionals. So it's any given Sunday. But with the Falcons, you truly don't know what the fuck you're going to get from week to week. That's what makes it so frustrating. And that is where it falls on the primary problem, which is coaching. And I love that this comment popped up at the right time. And by the way, the StreamYard link is in there if anybody wants to come in. Because honestly, man, tonight, I could go on and on and on. I want to hear from y'all tonight. I want to hear from y'all. I want to hear what y'all have to say. I want to hear y'all's opinion. I don't want to be the only person talking. I want to have an opinion on record about where this team currently is. But back to this question, fire Raheem. Yeah, I mean, that I think at this point, you're 13. Well, man, I don't know. Do you know? I mean, man, listen, I'm going to tell you this straight up. I want to ask you a question. You're 13, and I love that because, man, at one point, honestly, not too long ago, I was you, so I want to talk to you personally. What I'm gonna and I really want you to listen right now because there's a lot of stuff that's going on. There's a lot of things that I'm sure you're hearing as a young cat in this fan base, which I remember at one point when I was that. I started coming on here when I was 15, making videos, so I absolutely understand. I'm about to be 21 at the end of the year. First of all, to answer your question, yes, Raheem Morris, he should have never been hired as head coach, but should he be fired? Yes. However, is he going to be? No. He's not going to be. The only way I think Raheem Morris gets fired before the season ends is if we see the Falcons go on like a 4 or 5 game losing streak. Now, would I rule that out as happening? No, I don't think you can rule anything out with this team. But I want to talk to you because understand that, number one, when you're a Falcons fan, it's not just about saying you're a Falcons fan. It's about being committed to the team. It's about understanding what you're getting into. Because there ain't a good history. And see, this is where I say, man, I can clearly tell that you have a good grasp on things. We can beat anyone and we can also lose to anyone. So That's where I'm getting. That is the problem with this team. And that puts this team, continues to put it in a dangerous situation with the roster that you have, with the talent that you have. You're not going to be in this position to have this roster forever. Your window, if you're honestly looking at it, I mean, look, you're heading into an off season where regardless of what happens the rest of the way, you're without a first round pick. And, that was a classic Aaron Rodgers. You're heading into an offseason without a first-round pick. And essentially at this point, the conversation would pretty much turn to the draft. You can't turn it to the draft now. You know why? Because there's no first-round pick. I thought initially we were going to have a little bit of money to work with next offseason. I just looked on a site. We really don't have much. Now, of course, the Kirk Cousins contract, we can dump this offseason, so we'll pick up a little bit of money. But even then, you got to start looking at it, man. You got some contracts up this offseason. You got to make a decision on Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier, Caden Ellis. You got to start looking at paying guys like Matthew Bergeron. Drake London is up for an extension. All while you start to have a conversation about Bijan Robinson. who we know is probably going to break the running back market. And then that doesn't even get into if Penix actually really is going to end up being your franchise quarterback, which honestly, listen, with us not having a first round pick, I really don't think the Falcons have a choice but to commit to Penix for the next few years. Now, am I saying give him a contract? No, he's got to earn that. But if he earns that, then you're going to have to pay him. Then you throw in a potential extension for guys like Jesse Bates and other guys. Man, the ability to actually add to this team through free agency is getting ready to go away. That, or you're going to have to make some very tough decisions and part with some fan favorites. Part with some guys who have made an impact on this team. Do I think injuries had anything to do with the loss? Respectfully, this is a next man up league. The Falcons had Michael Penix out in this game. They had Drake London out in this game. They had Zach Harrison out in this game. Jalen Walker, Billy Bowman. Do I think that if all of those guys are playing, that makes a difference? Honestly, you could never fully say, but I don't think it makes a difference enough to where we win the game. I really don't. I will say I do think, and this is another issue. This team, they were so defeated even heading into this game because they were thinking, man, how are we going to do it with our top pass without our top pass catching target? How are we going to do it without our quarterback? How are we going to do it without all these guys on defense? And essentially they became defeated. And that is where the issue goes back to coaching. How is it that Kyle Shanahan and the coaches out in San Francisco can bring guys off of JV teams from Division III colleges and sign them 2 days later? They're out there making big plays in prime time. All right, I'm gonna let you in, man. I'm gonna let you in for a little
What's
bit.
up, bro?
Speak your mind.
Yeah, we got to fire Raheem, and yeah, Kirk Cousins needs to get cut.
Yeah, no, I mean you're listen. You're on it, man. You've been on
And the
it,
inconsistency is just horrible.
man. How would you describe your experience being a Falcons fan so far?
I mean, it's horrible. Like after the Super Bowl, it just went downhill, and it's just
You
been
remember
bad.
the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
How old were you during the Super Bowl?
Um, Probably 7,
And how old are you now?
13.
Man, you were a little bit younger than 7, man. Because the Super Bowl, we coming up on like 9 years since the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl's in. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, I'm 13 now, and I must have been like 6 or something.
Um, let me tell you something because I'm actually gonna tell you this. I don't plan on keeping you in here long, but
All
I
right.
do want to educate you, and I want you to stay around the channel. There's
All
going to
right.
be things that are said about this team, that sometimes it may be literally, sometimes they may not be literally, but I want you to realize at the end of the day that being a Falcons fan, first of all, it's gonna bring you a lot of ups and downs. So you better be prepared to get disappointed. Also, after that, there's a lot within this fan base, and at the end of the day, man, you just got to be you. So
Yeah.
that's all I'm gonna say. You got to be you. And I would also suggest that you get with the right people and you respect your elders. Basically, you listen to them, man.
Yep.
You think we have a deal?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate you for coming on. Trucker Mike, what's up, brother? Uh, let's see what do we have here. Guys going to want to be paid, want to win championships, and not be on a losing team anymore. That's why Atlanta is not on a lot of players' lists of places to play because of constant mediocrity. Yeah. And here's the thing. A year like this year, what we're on pace for, another mediocre mid-year. We're on pace for another about 7-8 win season. Missing the playoffs again for what would be the 8th straight year. And that is just another tally on mediocrity. Just another year of the mediocrity stacking up. We're not stacking wins. We're stacking mediocrity around here. That's what we're doing. And you're right. Guys, and also, man, it's really going to affect these free agents we have coming up. Man, we've already seen it in the past. And I mean, do you think Tyler Algier is going to want to stay here when he's going to get RB1 money? He's probably going to get like 12, 13 million a year somewhere. Probably somewhere like New England or, God forbid, even Cincinnati. Somewhere like that, he'd probably be more enticed to go if he's going to be getting way more carries than to be RB2 here, get like 6 carries a game, and be on a mediocre team year after year. Yeah, so there was a lot of movement actually at the game. I want to ask you, when did the Jesse injury occur? Because I didn't see it, but I do know I saw he was out. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, man, he's been very disappointing this year. He really has. It feels like he's been out of place a lot. And I want to also talk about this, man. Speaking of Jesse Bates, the sequence between him and J.D. Bertrand on that play where we easily could have had an interception in the second quarter, and I believe what was Miami was up like 7-3. That was something that really could have flipped the game. It could have. That's why I say, man, there were points that you could have flipped this game and you just didn't. That's where you lost. This game was never, I think, in question after midway through the third quarter. It was never in question. Miami didn't have to break a sweat late in this game one bit. But I don't know if it was, I think it was Bertrand almost had the interception and Jesse tried to get it from him. I think that's what it was, or it might have been the other way around. Jesse had an interception. Bertrand was trying to get it from him. Man, you won, and the pass fell incomplete. And you could have had an interception, a point to flip the game. But, man, that is where I go. Stuff like that and shit like that, that is selfish for yourself. You care more about stats than you do about winning football games. That shows me all I need to know. We got an absolute buffoon of a head coach sitting up here talking about he's not worried about our locker room. He thinks holding together the locker room is going to be easy. Well, I mean, I honestly, at this point, man, I think the Falcons' locker room is already questioning a lot of shit. I think we saw today with the quarterback stuff, man, that it's clearly the coaching. Because the same shit we were doing for Penix, it's the same shit we did for Kirk, other than we did let Kirk go under center a few times, but even that didn't work out. And it really does make you wonder, though. It makes you wonder, how can it really be this bad? And you go, well, eventually you can only blame the coaches so much, right? Eventually eventually the players have to get some blame, and they will. They'll get blamed when necessary. But man, at the end of the day, tell me a guy who is being set up in the right situation. I don't even think Bijan is being set up to be used to his full potential. I don't. I think the Buffalo game is the most we've seen Bijan been used to his full potential all season. That's the absolute most we have seen Bijan play to his full potential all season. Was that game versus Buffalo? That is the game they put all of their chips into. They had 2 weeks to prepare for it. They put all their chips into that game, and man, after that Buffalo game, they pretty much put a wrap on everything. The way they looked at it is, oh, we beat Buffalo, everything's good. They got complacent, essentially. That's why we saw it out in San Francisco. That's what we saw today. This is a complacent football team. As long as they can get one or two flashy wins a year, kind of like they did last year against Philly and against Tampa. If they could just get one or two flashy wins a year, that's enough. That's enough to keep people invested. To see, oh man, this is what it can be. No, psych, this is what we really are. Now, do we maybe hype up this roster a little too much? I think it's something we got to start looking at. Is this a situation of just absolutely awful coaching? Or is this a situation of maybe our roster isn't as good as we actually see it? But at the end of the day, man, I still definitely lean into the coaching. I definitely lean into the coaching. This is where I go, man. Raheem was the wrong hire. He should have never been hired to begin with. There's a lot of people that say a lot about the hire. You know, some people will call it a DEI hire. Some people will, say, it was this and that. The bottom line is, man, I don't even think it was a DEI hire as much as it was poor management of a coaching search by the Falcons. Because if you notice, it was Arthur Blank and Rich McKay that led the search. This is what you do. You do one or two things. You either let Terry Fontenot fully conduct the search himself, or you bring in a firm and you let them do the search. And honestly, at this point, that's probably what you need to do. For your next head coach search, you need to bring in a firm, man. For them to find the right head coach. Because I don't think anybody, especially Arthur Blank, is capable of making a right head coaching hire. Arthur Blank has never really I'm not too familiar about the situation of how they brought in Mike Smith. I know with Quinn, it was a firm. I don't think they used a firm with Arthur Smith. I know with Raheem, this Raheem hire was essentially Rich McKay giving his old buddy a job. That's essentially what it was. It was a familiarity thing. So I guess if you want to look at it in a way, it was DEI, it was favorability, but it was more so just, oh, we know you, so come on back. We ain't trying to change too much, so just come on back. And that's the issue. The Falcons, they continue to be stuck in the same place because they're not making the appropriate changes. The Falcons need to do an entire 180. I am talking, man, here's the other thing too. The uniforms. And I've never really been too big on the uniforms. There's only one pair of uniforms that means any sort of good news for the Falcons, and it's the red helmet throwbacks. Those primary uniforms we got, man, they're they're trash looking, and more so they bring bad luck. There's a stigma about those uniforms you need to get rid of. It's not working out. This whole era, it's not working out. The Falcons, they need a new coach. They need new uniforms. And we might even need a new logo, honestly. And to be completely truthful, we got a beautiful old school logo that we could easily make the primary one once again. So now the question is, what is going to change? That is the question. What is going to change? That is clearly, I think, the number one question. What's going to change? Not so much even for this season. But what are you actually going to do? Because, see, there's a lot of changes that need to be made. I don't think this is just simple as, oh, you make a coaching change. I think this is truly a cultural change. You need to bring in new uniforms. You need to bring in a new logo. Hell, it may be time for Arthur Blank to give up the pipe and give it over to his son. It really may be time. EBG, what's going on? Yeah, rough day. Yeah, rough day for everyone. Rough day for everyone. Let's see. Rich should be going too because there's no way nobody can tell me and sit there and not agree that he's influencing Arthur Blank's decision making. Yeah, and here's the thing about it. They claim that Rich essentially he's out of the day to day. Even if he's not in Flowery Branch every day, that man is like Arthur Blank's extended family at this point. That man is basically like a member of the Blank family. I guarantee you, him and Rich McKay, they talk every damn day. And he's absolutely influencing and still in Arthur Blank's ear. And he's still involved with the league. So, yeah, Rich McKay's never left. They're just hiding him for the moment. And see, this is the other thing, too. Terry Fontenot's not going to see it. This is, what, year 5 for Fontenot? Man, this season ends with Raheem going. Fontenot's got to go, man. You're not going to be able to fucking justify to, I think, any head coach, no matter how good Fontenot's drafts and rosters, and I think Terry Fontenot has put together some good rosters. You need something entirely new. Entirely new. I'm not calling on Terry Fontenot to be fired per se, but with Raheem going, I would probably fully expect Terry to go. And I mean, it does suck because I think Terry Fontenot has still done an all right job. Has he done the best job per se? No. I feel like you look at some of the things right now on our team. There's no way that David Sills should be out there starting. Casey Washington should be out there starting. You should have receivers better than that. But at the end of the day, man, it's what I say. Fontenot still, he hasn't been done justice with, he's really never been able to pick his coach. Him and Arthur Smith was essentially picked with him. A lot of people like to say that Arthur Smith was picked before Fontenot. They were picked together essentially. So I don't think Terry really had much of a say in who his head coach is going to be. I think if he did, it wouldn't have been Arthur Smith. I think it would have been somebody different. As far as Raheem goes also, I think even though, yeah, him and Raheem naturally have good chemistry, that was definitely still, I think, a Rich McKay-led move. So, man, listen, you need to understand something with the Falcons. Though, it goes deeper than just today. It does. Because you got people paying money. People are paying money to go to these games, buying merchandise. How are you going to, and man, I didn't even realize it. I thought the first round pick, I knew we didn't have that, but I thought we were going to have a little money to play with next offseason. We don't even have that. Next offseason is looking very, very rough right now. That's why you had to get it this year. You had to take a step forward this year. You had to take a step forward the last couple of years because you can only go so long trying to sell a dream until everyone catches on to your bullshit. And this was the shit or get off the pot year for the Falcons. And clearly we see that through 7 games, the Falcons, they ain't just on the pot, they're hooked to the pot. So now at the end of the season, this is at least what should happen. We should see a removal of the pot from the pot smokers, and you get the pot smokers out of here and you send them somewhere else to do their bullshit. Honestly, man, when I look at Raheem Morris, a lot of people say he's not a head coach. Some people say, well, he's a good defensive coordinator. Honestly, from what I've seen, I don't even think that. Because, man, if Raheem was a good defensive coordinator, and no, he shouldn't be calling plays, I think, would have a clear vision of what his defense is. If his clear vision was, because at the end of the day, while the defense has had a rough past couple of games, you can at least tell that is Ulbrich's defense. The main thing that I think goes against Ulbrich right now is he continues to put Bertrand out there to get picked on when he shouldn't have. He should have really made that adjustment. He needs to put somebody else out there, whether it's Josh Woods, whether it's D'Angelo Malone, hell, whether it's fucking bringing DeMarco Helms down and playing. And honestly, man, that's what I would do. I'd bring Helms down. I'd let him play that other linebacker spot. That's the main thing that goes against Ulbrich. But for Raheem, I don't even know if he's a good coordinator. I get the vibe that Raheem is maybe at best a position coach. It was pointed out to me earlier today, this is now Raheem's second 10 years as a head coach. His last one was what, 15 years ago? And he still hasn't learned shit. So, once again, man. Once again. He hasn't learned. He's not an NFL coach. It's the same thing as guys like Josh McDaniels and Dennis Allen. He's another Josh McDaniels, Dennis Allen. That's what he is. These guys, they just aren't NFL head coaches. But the thing is, man, at least when I look at Josh McDaniels, I know Josh McDaniels is a great offensive coordinator. Speaking of Josh McDaniels, guess who we play next week? Even when I look at someone like who is the other one? You got Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen's a great defensive coordinator. He's just that some guys cannot manage the team. Because when you're a head coach, you're not just managing a football team, you're one of the faces of the team. You're the one that's going out. You're going to have to answer for the team week after week. Right after the game. It's all eyes on you. You're the one that's managing not just in-game, you're managing the injury report, you're managing who practices, you're managing who gets reps, you're overlooking the game plans for both sides of the ball. Even if, let's say, you are a defensive guy and you don't know shit about offense, the funny thing is, Raheem is supposed to know both sides of the ball because he's coached both sides of the ball. So that's what doesn't make any sense either. Let's see. Let me. No. Let me see. If blank and lead the head coach search again for the third time, then that says the front office don't trust Terry to hire his own head coach. Remember, Raheem was hired. Terry was not at the conference. Yeah, exactly. Well, no, Terry was at Raheem's introductory press conference, but I'll never forget the day after they fire Arthur Smith, they got Arthur Blank and Rich McKay. That I'm going to tell y'all something. That is the one time I actually think I can remember Rich McKay, fully sitting there, the puppet master, the mastermind being unveiled, essentially. That's what it was. Rich McKay was essentially in the capacity as GM. And that's where I say I do think for the first 3 years, Fontenot was essentially an associate or kind of like a co-GM. Where I do feel like in the past 2 years we have seen his vision. But man, the bottom line is this. Once again, Fontenot is not going to get another head coach. He's just not. Him and Raheem are attached at the hip. And so if I were Terry, man, I'd be absolutely pissed off. I'd be doing everything I can to improve the team, but I'd be pissed off at Raheem. Because, dude, you're not just fucking up your job now, you're fucking up my job. This is really a once-in-a-lifetime chance you get at being an NFL general manager. And, man, I got young kids. We finally have been established here for a few years. And now you're telling me, and I met Terry Fontenot a couple of years ago. He's very, very, very gracious, very nice dude. He was actually talking about he was talking with the fans, about how basically, the school that his kids went to. So you essentially, and he's still got young kids. So you finally have them established, and then all of a sudden, boom, because there's a goddamn idiot as a head coach, now I got to get up out of here and I got to go back to New Orleans or I got to go somewhere else. So if I were Terry, man, I would be absolutely pissed off at Raheem right now. And I would be demanding that Raheem makes a change, or I'd be going to Arthur Blank and throwing this motherfucker under the bus. And talk about Trice, man. This point. Trice, Anderson, I'm not expecting them. I'm not. If I get them, I get them. Hooray. I'm not expecting them at this point. That's the thing, man. I want to hear from y'all. Listen, I want to hear from y'all. Hit the link, chat it up, talk, man, because I really want to hear from y'all. My opinion only goes so far. It's y'all's opinions that take this conversation further and further. So I want to hear from y'all. But no, it's absolutely. Raheem's an absolute idiot. Raheem does not have this team prepared. This team is never able to fully keep focus. I gave Arthur Smith a lot of shit at the end of his tenure as head coach. I did. But one thing I'll say about Arthur Smith, at least more times than not, those teams were competitive. I think with Arthur Smith, there was a lot of overthinking it. There was a lot of essentially, Arthur Smith didn't know where to stop. He was trying to create a whole new complex of the NFL offense. He was trying to bring it back. He was trying to take the NFL offense back 30 years, essentially. He wasn't able to adapt. And as much as I also think, him not really ever having a stable quarterback after Matt Ryan left hurt him. I also think that there were still some things where he did almost get to the playoffs with Desmond Ridder in 23. It just really felt like there were times where if he would have just gotten Pitts the ball, he would have gotten, especially if he would have just gotten Drake and Bijan the ball, he never got cute, man. Because you look at, there were a lot of games that year you shouldn't have lost. You shouldn't have lost to the Panthers that way. You shouldn't have lost to Minnesota. You shouldn't have lost to the Cardinals. You look at those games, man. Those are games that, essentially, if you flip differently, the Falcons would have won the division that year. And Desmond Ridder was not a long-term answer, but I would have been genuinely interested to see Arthur Smith with Kirk Cousins. I would have. I don't know if it takes us anywhere, but I at least think Arthur Smith could, I think, get this team to the playoffs. I think the issue with Arthur Smith, he was just so young that he tried to overcomplicate a lot of things, and he let a lot of these, man, what do you call it, man? He let a lot of these quirks and these weird obsessions he has with guys like Johnny Smith get in the way of the team's success, and that's why he had to go. But man, honestly, look, you tell me what would have came after? I would have given Arthur Smith the 4th year. The plan was never to fire him after 3 years. I think the plan was. Now I do think, and look, if he would have gotten one more win that year, he'd be here, right? He probably still would have been there at least last year as head coach. I don't know if he makes it, if he's still here right now. But if, he was able to get a veteran, he was able to get someone like Kirk who essentially could hold him in check and give him ideas, kind of like you see with Aaron Rodgers. It could have ended up working. But the thing with Raheem is he's got this roster. He doesn't, and the thing with Raheem is, though, there's no preparation. You got these young guys. There's a lot of upside to them. It felt like with Arthur Smith, there was a lot of overthinking on his end. It feels like Raheem, there's not enough preparation with these young guys. He's just telling these young guys, oh, don't worry, we'll be fine. That even last year, it was, don't worry, we'll be fine. 6-3, man, they thought they had the division already locked up. Like, oh, we'll be fine. Don't worry. It's all good. And then he'll go over, he'll dap other players up, he'll dap the coach up. Hey, what's up, man? You want to go see some bitches later? And that's what it is with Raheem. That's why he's a damn fool. He's a buffoon. He fits perfectly in a parade. He's the ultimate hype man. But he's not a fucking NFL head coach. How long is it going to take to realize that? Whoever hasn't realized it already, I think most of us have. But he's not a fucking suitable head coach in this league. We've seen it. And I am a guy, and I'm going to hold myself accountable for a second. When we hired Raheem, I definitely had my questions about it. I did not want Raheem. Everyone knows that I was on the Belichick train. I think the Falcons made the right decision not getting Belichick. But at the end of the day, we got Raheem. I wasn't pleased with it, but it started to mellow in and marinate, and I was thinking, okay, let's go out. Let's get some things going this offseason. Let's have a solid draft, and we may have something. We got Kirk Cousins. That looked like the ultimate game-changing move. You got a guy like Mooney. You made some big signings. You drafted Michael Penix. A lot of us questioned it, but you could clearly tell that it looked like the Falcons did have a plan. Then you drafted, some guys, later in that draft on defense, guys like Rook, guys like Dorless, who you see making an impact. Then obviously, we get out to the start last year, 6-3. It's like, okay, we're here. We're getting wins. Raheem has been here. Just as you're starting to buy in, this motherfucker shows his true colors. And it's almost, at some point, man, I'm sick of hearing him say, we need to get better. I'm sick of him say shit like, I take full accountability. We have to be better. It can never happen again. When you keep saying that week after week, we can clearly tell that your words mean absolutely nothing. And it's so much so to the point where now, man, you're not even a really good talker anymore. We read right through you. We know what you're going to say. We know what you're thinking. That's the problem. There is no accountability in this building. these guys, they still probably think, oh man, we're right on the edge. If we just essentially hope and pray, we're going to get down on our knees, we're going to hope, we're going to pray. And man, it'll be all right. Don't worry. It will be all right. You know, we may, you know, man, we got 10 games left. It will be all right. We'll find our way in. Don't worry. Don't worry, Falcons fans. We're gonna find our way in. That's essentially what the fuck you're gonna hear. That is essentially what you're gonna hear. And that's what Raheem's thinking is. But you can't continue to sell people bullshit that have already been sold the same shit year after year. And that is where I think people feel insulted. Not even so much by the fact that the team is losing, but by the fact that you got a dumbass like Raheem Morris who is still coming out and trying to sell a crack pipe dream, essentially. Raheem the Dream trying to sell a crack pipe dream. That's what it is. He's getting down, he's hoping and praying. And you got Zach right there with him, who's not changing a damn thing. Oh, let me tell you something. The offense has been totally figured out at this point. Totally. Everyone knows what the plays to Bijan are. Everyone knows how to stop Bijan at this point. They know that if you load the box, that's it. We know they don't take deep shots. We know that it's not even in their arsenal. Whether Penix or Kirk, they're not taking deep shots. So once again, so why do we even bother? We just stack the box, and we're not just going to limit them. We're going to totally stop them. So I want to, yeah, man. I mean, look, it's been a weird season. I don't want to hear shit about that because with the weird season going on, you should be able. This is the season you really want to take advantage of, where anyone can beat anyone. That you take care of the games you're supposed to take care of. You could be dangerous, but no. This is the year you decide to be the typical same old Falcons. Now, I want to take a look at something. Actually, I did it in one of my last streams. I want to take a look at something. It's going to be the schedule. So this is where we are so far. Through 7 games, we're 3-4. Patriots next Sunday. We should get smacked, but knowing the Falcons, they may come out and win versus the Patriots. Colts. We should. I mean, Indianapolis is one of the best teams in the league. But knowing the Falcons, they'll probably try to give the Colts a tough game. Try to, wouldn't be shocked if they were to beat them or New England. I don't think they're going to beat both. I wouldn't be shocked if they beat one of them. Carolina at home in a couple weeks. You would think that you're not going to get swept by the Panthers. They'll get up. That's a division game. They'll get up just enough. They know they're going to want to be like, okay, we know we need to get a division game. So they win that. So I still wouldn't be shocked if we should lose these next 2 games. I wouldn't be shocked if we're like, now I'll say this right here. If the Falcons finally decide to be consistent at something and we see a 4-game losing streak, that might be the end of Raheem. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. We're probably going to see the Falcons win one of these 2 games. We're going to see them win this game. It's going to be 5-5. And then look who we have. We got the Saints in New Orleans Sunday before Thanksgiving. They're probably going to be like, what at that point? 1-9, 1-10 at that point. But it would not shock me one bit if we find ourselves in a point where we're just getting back really to a point where we recovered, and then boom, we lose to the Saints or we lose to the Jets. I told y'all these final 7 games of the tournament we get in at this point, man. When we get to December, we might be like 5-7, and we're already done. This is why I was saying, man, you gotta take care of the games you're supposed to win. Now I want to introduce someone to y'all, man. This is a very, very cool dude. Dirty, what's going on, man? Talk to the people.
Hey man, what's going on?
Man, I can tell, man. You've had quite a day.
Yeah, I've had quite a day, man. I saw that unraveling of the Falcons today. I know you was at the game. I saw you at the game.
Yeah.
The fans left early.
Yeah, listen, I left early, and I typically never leave early.
Nah, I've sat it out, man.
Yeah, no, I sat it out as much as I could. I was actually at one point, man, it kind of looked like I might, because I had a little bit of things going on after the game. I might have to leave at the end of the third quarter. I really didn't want to do that because I'm thinking, well, man, I didn't pay the money just to, sit through 3-4. So I'm going to get about, my money's worth regardless of being there. And I mean, yeah, sat it out, left with about 4 minutes left when the game was, I left right after we scored, essentially. There was no point in watching after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't get the notification that you were coming on, man. I wish I had got it, because there is a lot going on, and there's a lot of things that we need to, there's decisions that's going to need to be made. Some of them they're going to be able to go through with them, and some of them they're not. Is it correct that even if they fire Raheem, and I'm not saying fire him, he still gets paid, right?
Well, that comes out of Arthur Blank's pocket. That don't come out of that don't come out of salary cap. That comes out of Arthur Blank's pocket. We still may be paying Arthur Smith.
I think we are.
But that's Arthur Blank's money, man. Arthur Blank makes that back in about a week.
Okay. That's a good thing to hear then. So his decision would not be money based.
I mean, no. No. These coaches, man, let me tell you something. These NFL coaches, they get contracts in the very next year. They can be out of there. They to these owners, man, they don't give a fuck. They paying these coaches is basically like, it's essentially like buying food, essentially, almost.
Okay. Now, with what went on today, because I didn't hear the entire your entire
I mean, we got a Panthers fan in here, and he knows very damn well his owner, and his owner is one of the richest in the league. He's gone through so many coaches and still probably paying a coach he fired like 4 years ago, man.
Wow.
And like he goes through coaches, paying Matt Rule. These owners, they go through coaches like they go through meals.
Well, that's a good thing then. So then we can start the process past the wide receiver coach.
Yes.
So now with Kirk Cousins play, and I was excited about seeing Kirk play, but I was excited to see him play because I wanted to isolate if there were some other issues on our team. And can we say that our offensive coordinator is a part of that, or has a hand in on the issue?
We can say that he is at the center of the issue.
Wow.
He's not a part of the issue. He's the center of the issue. Him and the head coach.
Yeah, that was a terrible offensive game. Even though Kurt hasn't played since last season, we just look so unorganized today.
Yeah.
Just totally
And I mean, people
unorganized.
will say a little bit of it was the injuries. I only think that's so much. Yeah. Here's another thing too. Bijan got the ball, I want to say maybe 13 times this game.
That's that's crazy. That's
And,
terrible.
and this is a guy who really is one of the best players in the NFL. He's getting the ball 13 times a game.
And so Zach didn't make the Miami
You there, Dirty? 9 carries for 25 yards. Yeah. Yeah, that should. I mean, that should not even be a talking point. Dirty, you may have to. I can't really hear you, man. You may have to come back in. Yeah. No, I mean that's absolutely. It's just asinine. All right. All
Can
right,
you hear
man.
me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just go back. I'm going to the defensive side of the ball. Is it me or were they going attacking JD?
Oh yeah, they were attacking him all game. That's what I was saying earlier. I think the main issue with Holbrook right now, and it's holding this defense back a lot. He has Bertrand out there and he's trying to develop him. Here's one thing about it. You got so many other guys out here, and they said they were going to go by committee. I didn't see anything by committee.
No.
They had Bertrand out there all game feeding him to the Wolves. And you have Woods, you got Malone. Here's what the guy who I would have put there is actually Helms. That's who I would have put there.
Oh, that's right. They did say he played. He was a hybrid
Yeah,
type player. Wow.
that's who I would have put there. No, I mean we once it, but I'll also say this. I don't feel like this is because I think you can speak it also. There were a couple of moments, in this game, at least early, as there is with every game, where the Falcons really missed those opportunities, and after that, it was done. The best drive of this game, it felt like, and it was pretty short, but the best drive of the game was the one midway through the third quarter. It was the only time they went deep. They drew a PI on Mooney. They had a good drive going. They finally got into the red zone. And man, they were down 17 to 10, or 17 to 3. But if they score, it's a one-score game, and you got a little bit of momentum back. Now, is to say that would have been amounted to anything, who knows? But then that drive ends with a Bijan fumble. After that, man, the game, that was it for that game, essentially.
Yeah. I for some reason it's just like Bijan was not a factor at all, and
Mm-mm.
and that said so much about where we are. I just don't understand why Bijan never was a factor. Okay, in the other games we were force feeding Bijan and Drake. And this game, Drake didn't play, and we wasn't force feeding Bijan. I would have felt better if they had done it that way. If we was
Yeah.
force feeding Bijan and we lost the game, okay, that's our bread and butter.
Well, if you're force feeding, and that's the thing, you should have been for. I want to go through the stats of this thing. I know you're not a big stats guy, but I do want to. I want to pull it up
Okay.
because it does reflect it reflects the just what a look at how the game went down. Essentially, stats don't tell the entire story, and I think once again, what do you talk about? What do you judge things on?
Well, just performance, just what I
Yeah,
see, um,
that's called the
how
eye
we look.
test.
Yeah, the eye test. Just performance.
And then a little bit of your gut feeling in there.
Right, right. And when I see like let's just say for an example, if it's 4th and 1 and Algiers in the game and they got 9 in the box or 8 or 9 in the box, I'm thinking no, we're not going to run it that 9 in the box. That's just me, and we're going to go on the center. But if we do something different than that and then we don't make it, and that's just what we do, then I'm just a little
You
bit.
know, there was one point, I think it was like in the second quarter, where they had a 3rd and 1 and they didn't go under center. They ran out of the pistol, but they did run Algier and he got stuffed behind. I'm like, okay, they stacked the box, they stuffed Algier. What I would have done though, I would have had a lot more Bijan out in the flat. That's what I would have done. Bijan out in the flat.
Well, I heard another content creator say this. Big Will on another
Yeah.
platform, and he says that Zach is not creative enough with what he has. He's not creative
Oh,
enough.
no, he's not. And this is where I want to get into the stats and what we see. Kirk Cousins, 21 for 3,173 yards.
Wow.
Bijan Robinson, 9 carries, 25 yards. Nathan Carter, 2 carries for 14 yards. Tyler Algier, 4 carries, 4 yards. The one little pity touchdown. Kyle Pitts was our leading receiver. He had 9 catches for 59 yards. That's not, I mean, you got on the ball a lot. That's not necessarily impressive, I would say. Now,
No,
I don't think Pitts
none.
is not the guy he was when he first came in, where he can rip off a 20, 30-yard run, but why didn't you try to throw some corner routes? This shit that we're talking about, man, it's really not even that hard. It's basic stuff.
It's basic football.
Basic. You catch the defense off guard. Play, and here's the thing. They said we had 11 first downs in this game. It felt like we had 3 the whole game. It felt like it was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. That's what it felt like.
Wow.
Kadero
Only
Hodge.
11.
Yeah. 3 catches, 31 yards. Casey Washington, 1 catch for 25 yards. Bijan, this entire day, he touched the ball 12 fucking times. Bijan should be getting more than that's about at minimum what Bijan should be getting in a half.
Right.
In a half. Probably more than that. And listen, I've been an advocate of I don't want to run Bijan into the ground necessarily, but you got to do what you got to do. And this was a game that you run him into the ground.
They didn't impose their will. That's what some people say. You got to impose your will on the other team. And we
that's
failed
what
to
I
do
said.
that.
That's what I said on Friday. Impose your will. We failed to impose our will on. And here's another thing, too. I know a lot of people don't really think about it this way. The Falcons, for the first time the entire season today, were forced to play defense first, and they got a 3 and out. But did maybe that also, because we know the Falcons, they love to, we're going to get our offense out there first, and we're going to try to do this and that, even though we know that it's never, that's not how it worked last week, isn't always necessarily how it works per se. It's about 50-50 when you take the ball to kick off first.
Yeah.
But the thing is, did that them basically having to, because they weren't used to it, and Raheem basically, for some reason, he does not like putting his defense out first. But you got a 3 and out, so then at that point, I'd be going, okay, I got all the momentum now. Now they've wasted their opening drive. I'm going to go down. I'm going to run this ball with Bijan. I'm going to get some screen passes going. Honestly, man, first play of the game, I would have let Kirk throw it.
I agree.
I would have let Kirk. Even if it was a simple screen to Bijan or just something over the middle to Pitts, I would have let him throw it.
Wait a minute. That's right. We did go 3 and out. Yeah, we went 3 and out. It was real quick. And look, we went 3 and out, and when we got the ball back in the second half,
Yeah,
I turned my head and turned back around. We were punting the ball.
yeah.
I was like, wow.
And man, I want you to tell everyone also, because it wasn't just you at the game. It wasn't just me at the game. Didn't you bring your mom to the game today?
Yeah, man. My mom's wanted to check the game out. I was a little leery of
So
taking her because of the walking, but she did well, man.
yeah. So your mom, she you said how
She's
old is she?
87.
She's 87.
Yup.
An 87-year-old, and I was going to tell you this: your mom's probably more of a real fan at 87 than a lot of than 90% of these other motherfuckers are. Period.
Hey, man. Let's talk about this fan thing for a second, right? I was, just scanning through the reactions, of the Falcon content creators, and I ran across a couple, and I'm not gonna call any names. It was like they were really, really happy that that they were right
What were they right about?
about just how we're going to play, and the head coaches and
Oh my!
all of that. And it's okay to talk about it, but not to be. I'm
Yeah,
glad I told y'all that this was going to
yeah,
happen, that was going to happen. So now, with that being said, even as fans or whatever, we not that it's going to matter because we don't make the decisions, but somebody needs to figure out what we need to do. What moves we need to. That's what I want to hear on the podcast,
yeah.
well, I don't really listen to ESPN, but anybody that does Falcon content, even with this 92.9 and all of them guys, we need to come up with some new directions.
Yeah.
How can we fix this? How can we get this good product?
Well, here's the thing with 92.9. You can probably speak on this. Even after the game, man, 92.9. They're always going to be. You got guys on there who are always going to be positive. The only guys I feel like on 92.9 who tell it how it is are Dukes and Bell and Steak. Those are the only guys who I feel like sometimes you'll get the truth out of. The other people, I just feel like and essentially, they are employees for the Falcons almost because that is the Falcon station. But you have no one who's going to tell it like it is on 92.9 except for Dukes and Bell and maybe Steak.
I think Duke and Bell going to really they're gonna really strap down this week
Yeah.
with what the facts. I saw a little short. One of the guys were he was actually drinking on camera.
Carl.
Oh, that's Carl. Okay,
Yeah.
had his hat turned backwards. He was like, "Just let me take a drink. Y'all don't mind if I drink."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, now and I'm a solution guy. I try to come up with solutions to try to do things at least different, and hope that it's better. I can't put my finger on nothing right now.
No.
We're just so all over the place. No consistency. We're
No.
not playing consistently bad, and we're definitely not playing consistently good.
Well, but here's the thing, though. You say we're not playing consistently bad, but now this is 2 straight games. You're playing consistently underwhelming. And I do think that, honestly, I do think you can say that it's the way that the Falcons are playing. They're playing essentially how a team like the Saints would like to be playing right now, is the way you can think about it. A team that doesn't have anything going for them, but they just like to make a little bit of noise. The Falcons are in a position right now. They need to be winning games.
That is
You
true,
need
but
you
for
need to
some
stop.
reason we just can't formulate what we need to do.
You need to stop fucking around.
Well, if the leader is on that, everybody's gonna follow suit.
Yeah. That's what I say. We have a lot of young guys on this team. I see your comment, CPG. We needed to get with everyone and do a mid-season NFC South roundtable. All right, we'll do it in the next few weeks, probably before we play y'all again. But uh, what I was saying, we have a lot of young guys on this team. The issue I felt like with Arthur Smith was he over-prepared. The issue with this motherfucker is he doesn't even prepare at all. With a lot of these young guys, man, they need a swift kick in the ass sometimes. That's where a Mike Vrabel, that's where a Bill Belichick, or even someone like a Jim Harbaugh or a Sean Payton even could help to get these young guys focused. With Raheem, he wants to be everyone's friend essentially. Like, hey man, yeah, what's up? Hey, go get your money, man. That's Raheem.
Yeah,
There's
he
no
even said it one
focus.
time. He said, "I'm not gonna say nothing crazy. I love my money."
Yeah, it was. There's no focus.
I think if a lot of people don't realize if you take care of your business, everything else will eventually fall in place for you.
Yeah, exactly. Even
Sometimes you're not gonna look good on your journey, and a lot of people that's what they're trying to do. You're trying to save face, and but you're not really accomplishing anything. And it's terrible that we are at this point of the season, this early point of the season, and it's pretty much a wash. It's too
man,
early in the year, in the season, to feel this way.
I already said it. I congratulate Bucks fans. They've won this division once again. Already congratulated them.
Wow, that's sad, man. What's this like week 8?
That's week 8, yeah. Week
We're
8, this
not even
shit's done.
halfway there, and we're among the teams that have no hope in sight to get out of this season and play in the postseason.
Yeah. And the sad thing is, man, as much as obviously we know what at the end of the day the end is probably, it's that thing where, well, what do we have to look forward to for the rest of the year? What do we have to look forward to for the rest of this season with 10 games left? That's what makes it even tougher. We don't have a bye week anymore. We don't have it. It is 10 straight games till January. So where is anything to look forward to?
Hey man, you just gotta look forward to the atmosphere. Just
Yeah. That's
week to
man,
week.
look, yeah. Man, I said I already have, tickets to every game left. So I'm going to, obviously be there repping the team as I know you will be. And look, man, I just think that at the end of the day, it's going to be one of those things where I said this. I don't know what team we're getting next week. I don't know what team we're going to get in 3 weeks, I don't know what team we're getting from week to week. That is what I think is so scary.
Hey man, I'm just gonna enjoy it. I've been doing it so long that you know probably do some look. I probably go early and tailgate more
Yeah.
and just do that more instead of just inside of the stadium. I probably just I'm gonna add to that. I'm just gonna do some more tailgating. I got a couple spots I can go to. Hey, look around parts of the stadium that I've never seen because it's got a lot of stuff going on in there.
Yeah, and I'll say I've pretty much been to I've pretty much been around the entire stadium. But even every time I go in there, man, it's it's a walk that you love taking every time, regardless of the team. But the thing is, man, it's so sad because you got that stadium, and a lot of people, would say, I mean, look, that is a stadium that you have. That is a stadium for a winning team. It is. That
It
should be
is
a
now.
stadium for a winning team.
Right.
but it's not.
Nah, nope, we're not. The, we're not putting the product out that stadium represents.
Yeah.
We're not putting it out.
So
And
I want to ask you now about really just because you've been around for a while of seeing these things, man. I want to ask you two questions. Number one, where does today rank in terms of most embarrassing? We'll go most embarrassing home losses you've seen, and then secondly, I want to touch more on the fandom side of things. So I'll start off with where does this rank among the worst home losses you've seen?
I'm being honest, you know what? I had this conversation earlier. This is probably one of the worst feelings that I have for home losses. With with mixed in with expectations, mixed in with my fandom, mixed in with um what we needed to do. There was a lot of things mixed into that, and it was just terrible. And I got nothing. I got no answers for any of the questions that I had.
Yeah.
No positive answers, none. And this was a terrible loss with everything that we got going on in this franchise. It was one of the worst. Three
Yeah.
points in the first half from last week to this week. We've scored 6 points in the last 2 quarters of the last game and the first 2 quarters of this game. We only
Yeah.
got 2 field goals, bro. That's
Think
terrible.
about think about this. 2 straight weeks you scored 10 points. That ain't gonna win you. And see, it'd be one thing if you got the situation kind of like the Jets who put up 39 points today and won. The situation with them, man. How many first round picks have been dedicated to this offense?
Well, we got
I don't
we
care if
got
two
a
of them weren't
lot of
playing today.
well,
I don't, well,
they're in the mix.
matter of fact, no, it ain't just four. It's
No,
I know McGarry's out. You got Lindstrom and you got Matthews.
right.
About half this offense is first round picks.
And we're putting up 10 points a game.
Yeah,
And one of the reasons why I don't really, and I tell people this a lot, stats will get your expectations out of whack. Um, the Falcons was arguably have the number one defense till today.
yeah,
Okay, where was that at? That was on paper, but on the field, what good is being a number one defense and you putting up 10 points? There's nothing, man. It's
yeah.
I'm confused.
I think today did a big hit to Raheem. I really do. I think taking all of the opinions out today did a very big hit to Raheem
I
because
agree.
man, and it was at home and it was in Arthur Blank Stadium too. That's a very big hit to Raheem. I think.
I saw Mr. Blank on the 2 yard line. Looked like he was standing there with Rich McKay. I don't know if that was him or not, but
He always over there with Rich McKay. No, it was. I even asked the question. They showed him walking back to the locker room. I'm like, is that the new firing suit? Probably needs to be.
did he have on a red tie? If he got on
I
that
go.
red tie, somebody in trouble.
Oh man, let's see.
But yeah, I'm confused right now. I don't have no answers. And if I'm gonna listen, if anybody got any answers, I'm willing to hear them.
Let me see.
I don't have a clue right now of
Hold
what
on. Is
direction we
that?
need.
I'm gonna need to take a look. Is that man? That looked like a red tie. I'm seeing.
Uh-oh.
He got the 3-piece on. got the jacket over it.
But what would firing another coach do for the Falcons at this point, though?
But see, that's the thing. That's the other thing too. It's now this would be if do people understand that if you fire and you might have to, but this is why I honestly say I still wouldn't be shocked if Raheem is back next year because that would be the third coach in 5 years that you fired. That'd be the third coach in 5 years. So then at that point, you're entering Jets territory. You're entering Carolina Panthers territory.
Well, would that be an injustice
But see,
to the Falcons if we do that in search of the right combination?
I understand. Yes, absolutely. If Raheem is clearly not the guy, but this is where, man, I'm going to say it. The guy who we should have hired, man, is the guy in Seattle right now, Mike Macdonald. That's who we should have hired as head coach.
And I'm wondering, why didn't we do it? What happened? We need to find out what was that process about that we made this move.
Yeah.
How did we hold somebody accountable?
How did we land on Raheem? Because man, Mike Macdonald, everyone talks about how all these guys turned down the Falcons. Belichick turned us down, Harbaugh turned us down, Ben Johnson turned us down. Okay, I'll believe those guys turned us down. You really mean to tell me that Mike Macdonald's someone who grew up, he went to high school up in Roswell. He went to UGA. If he turned down the Falcons, there is something maybe more wrong with this team than we even know of.
That's what I'm saying. Why did we, how did we get here?
Yeah. How are we here? That's the big question. How are we in the point to where we are today, and why are we even asking these questions?
That's the question I got. Like I said, I'm confused. I don't have a clue right now. I'm gonna think about it. Do some research, not no stats, but just do some research about the structure of the franchise, the chain of command, the correct chain of command. Because we did some different things in our hiring process. Fontenot after the head coach, and then Fontenot wasn't the guy that called the certain shots that he should have, and then they turned it over to him, and so there was like 3 different processes that they implemented in the hiring process of the coaches.
Well, here's another thing too. I also think that going back to the coaching search thing is that obviously this I said from the moment I saw it, this was a Rich McKay hire. But then we hear all of a sudden Rich McKay's being taken out of football operations and they're both going to report to Arthur Blank. So it's one of those things where they were really just kind of trying to cover their ass because Rich McKay is a part of the Blank family, essentially. He is Arthur Blank's their family.
Right.
They're talking every day.
He's going to have he's going to be a silent partner, or he's going to be a vocal partner.
He is at family dinner. He is probably over there every day. So, yeah, of course he's still involved.
I think they just did that just to keep the riffraff down.
Yeah, that's probably so. I want to talk about this comment because they said Terry Fontenot hasn't been good. He's responsible for paying Kirk. Wouldn't that be the GM making those types of decisions? I want you to take this one, Dirty.
Said Raheem hasn't been good. They knew that before he came.
Well, no. What about talking about Terry?
Paying Kirk?
Yeah, that's
man.
That's what it points out.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that move. I didn't agree with it. I didn't agree with it. $180 million to a injured veteran on the backside of his career. I didn't see that. I didn't see it. I never agreed with it. Um, and it did make a little sense. Still, it didn't win me over when they went and got Michael Penix. So I was like, okay, all right. So they're gonna play this guy for 2 years, and then they're gonna bring Penix in. Okay, so that's gonna be another 3 years for me to go through this development process for this team, and hopefully in 3 years things will change. I don't
But
think that's gonna happen.
see, the thing is, I think that the response that was good, the justification given to us is Kirk is going to help us win now. Penix is going to help us win long term.
How are you
We
gonna help us
saw,
win now? And he's got a major injury.
well, yeah, exactly. That was the justification given to us. We could clear now. We got off to the start last year, but we could clearly see that once again, it was kind of honestly, if you look at it last year, it was Kirk was a lot of it, but it was more than just Kirk. It was a lot of the same issues we're talking about right now.
Right. From Yeah, and they rolled over from last season. He didn't know
Not,
our offensive coordinator didn't know the players. He wasn't able to open the playbook because of the limitations of Kirk. What else?
well, I don't even know if you can really even look at that playbook thing all too much now because I mean, look, unless Penix this whole bone bruise thing or Penix actually has a bigger injury that maybe he suffered this off season or something like that. Because man, listen, if the ACLs were a concern, he would have never passed his physical during the scouting process. You can't be worried about that. And if you are, then why did you take him? Why didn't you think it through?
There's no way I would have paid $180 million for any type of contract with a
Well,
guy that's coming in like that. I would have just brought the rookie in and just
I,
did some. I
that
would have did something else.
yeah, but the thing was what they were doing, and I agree with you. Looking back on it, we should have skipped over bringing Kirk in. We should have said, okay, we're going to draft a young quarterback, and that's going to be that. However, after the Ritter Heineke carousel debacle, they thought they needed to get stability short and long term. That's why they brought Kirk in.
They brought Kirk, man. All we did was bought in a reputation, man.
But let me tell you, it was really more so than actually I think thinking it through. And I really don't know if the Kirk Cousins thing that may have actually been more of an Arthur Blank move. That may have been Arthur Blank saying, "Look, this is going to be our guy. I'm going to give you this money. You're going to go out and get him." Because he probably told Raheem, or not Raheem, but Terry, I could have just fired your ass. The coach I let go of by his side to keep you here. You're going to go and you're going to get this quarterback. And Raheem and Terry's hands were basically tied behind his back. I had to go, okay, well, this is just what we're going to go do. Because it was really a reactionary move. Because, man, so many years of Matt Ryan spoiled this team to no other end. And when Arthur Blank especially, it's spoiled. And now he's having to go and he's having to watch Mariota and he's having to watch Ritter and Heineke. He doesn't want to have to deal with that ever again. So he goes out. He says, "Okay, Kirk is the best one. Terry, here is all the money, and you're gonna go sign that motherfucker." And Terry's not gonna argue with his boss. So
Well,
He
then,
went and he
if that's
signed
the
Kirk.
case, then their jobs are safe.
But see, the Kirk Cousins signing, this is where I was getting to.
Okay.
It felt like the ultimate reactionary move on the hands of Arthur Blank by essentially the debacle that occurred with Desmond Ritter and Mariota and Heineke. That's what it felt like. Looking back on it, it was a reactionary move.
Right.
And drafting Penix was a smart move for the future of the franchise, even though a lot of us at the time were really questioning, well, why did you do it if you just paid Kirk all this money? You should have just drafted Penix. You should have built this roster up through free agency. And who knows? Maybe you're in a better spot right now. And Raheem was not the coach for this team. The coach for this team was Mike McDonald.
Well, he went in there and his interview had to be immaculate, bro.
You think Raheem's was?
It had to be
Well, I mean, of
because
course it's going to be.
because his other stuff wasn't over the
No.
top.
But see, the thing with Raheem, everyone, Raheem had an advantage over all of these other fucking people they brought in.
That is true.
Raheem knew every hallway.
Right.
He knew where the office was. He knew the door to hold open for Mr. Blank. He knew what chair Mr. Blank liked. He knew what flavor wings Mr. Blank liked. He knew how to sweet talk his way into the job.
He did, and I can't disagree with that. He knew he was able to talk about some things that them other guys couldn't talk about.
Yeah.
And
he was able to connect.
Job.
He connected to Arthur Blank and Rich McKay in the way that no one else did. I guarantee you that Jim Harbaugh, and I know Belichick, they weren't coming in and kissing ass. They were coming in with a plan. But they wanted an ass kisser. They wanted someone who would stroke their ego.
And it's not working out for him. Because I know Mr. Blank is really embarrassed at this point. I know he's
embarrassed. But the thing is, what is he doing to help the cause?
Well, I think with how we've done things the last 3-4 years, I think Mr. Blank need to stay out of the draft room. He need to stay out of those rooms.
Well, you notice his son was starting to go in there a lot this last draft, right?
Well, he needs to stay out too.
Well, who do you think needs to be in
All of
case?
Terry, head coach, and all of the court, whoever their staff is that help the scouts and all of that, and they put that together, and they get on the board and say, "This is what we need for this team, for our scheme, and this is who we're gonna get." Because see, Mr. Blank, like you said, Mr. Blank paid his money because money ain't no problem to him.
No.
He got problems that money can't buy, can't pay for. So the man with the money needs to get out of the room so that the people that got their jobs on the line and that has the passion for this team, let them make the decisions. And then they'll report to him and say, this is what we're gonna do. This is the plan we got. Because one other thing that I found out today at that game, Kirk Cousins is cooked, bro.
Yeah.
He's done.
We know why no one is trading for him.
Now we know.
This is why we got to admit it. These NFL, these executives, these coaches, these other coaches, they know a hell of a lot more than we do.
Nobody even called the Falcons about Kirk.
Yeah.
And and I was hoping that Minnesota might call him back.
They ain't gonna do that. No.
Man, they not gonna do nothing.
we're stuck with that till the end of the year. We're going to be able to cut ties with it this offseason. And man, Kirk after that, I wouldn't be shocked if Kirk we see, because let's see, this is year 14 for him. Matt lasted what, 15 years? I wouldn't be shocked if next fall we're seeing Kirk Cousins and Matt Ryan sitting together on some pre-game show.
Hey man, Kirko is cooked, bro.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, I kind of did too. I felt like they weren't. It felt like he had a lot riding on this game. You got to imagine that, he always knew it was a possibility. And when he was getting the start, man, I'm sure his family was excited. His friends were excited.
I
They
was
all
excited.
I know you were. They all made arrangements to come to the game, and see him. Everyone was expecting one last ride at Kirktober was what was being expected today. And even at halftime, as stupid as it was, you're thinking the only reason I'm not going to say it's over yet is because maybe, just maybe, they're going to come out in the second half and they're going to let Kirk do his thing one last time.
I was thinking the same thing. 3 and out.
No. Then you finally get down and you fumble the ball.
Right.
Let me see. Are y'all worried about the future of Penix with Zach Robinson calling plays? He might be out of the league soon. Well, honestly, let's hope that Zach Robinson's not calling plays past this season.
Was that a comment?
Yeah. What do you think about that?
That's a good comment, because that was going to be my next question. How do you feel about sending Penix? We play New England next week, right? Well, if we're playing New England next week, I'm thinking, I'm not looking at the schedule. A team that's on their 5th straight win.
Yeah.
We're going on the road, and we don't play good outside. Or do you send Kirk? Either way, it's a
Penix.
It's a dumpster. It's going to be a
Sending Penix
dumpster
out.
fire.
I'm sending Penix out because I think there's no point in playing Kirk at this point. At least with Penix, man, I think you get an opportunity to see growth. But no, you say it's a dumpster fire? Man, Dirty, you know this team. I wouldn't be shocked in the least bit if they find a way to beat New England next week.
Hey, man, I'd like to see that.
It's the inconsistency of the team.
Exactly. Five-game winning streak.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a setup for them.
Now you're talking about a championship pedigree in New England now.
Yeah, no, that's why I say, man, I say still, I say all that, but then I look at it and I go, their coach, their quarterback,
Gabriel?
that team is focused.
I just don't feel good about sending them Falcons up there.
It's urgent they get a major improvement at OC. Yeah, I said this also, Dirty, and I want your opinion on this. Everyone knows we need a new coaching staff. We need a new head coach and a new offensive coordinator. I think it needs to go further at this point. I think we need new uniforms this offseason. I even think we might need to consider actually changing our logo up a little bit.
I actually like the old logo myself.
That's what I was saying, man. I would legitimately would not mind if they went back to that. I don't think they will, but I think that it wouldn't hurt. Because I think, even though that, listen, this is a team through 60 years that has never won a Super Bowl. But I at least think, you can probably speak to this way better than me. That old school grit, That's something this team needs.
Yeah, but it's gonna have to be it has to come from the inside out, man. Not
Yeah,
not the show, but it's got to go in the facility, man, and the coach, just like that guy, the coach for the Lions.
exactly. Campbell
Hey,
went
man,
in there, changed the culture,
they changed the culture, man.
and that guy, man, that guy has heart. I don't, I don't even think that guy. Yeah, I think Dan Campbell. You look at it, he's always going for it on fourth down. There's a lot of questionable things, but at the end of the day, the guy has fucking heart.
And he's so, and I mean he went all in. This guy would, a couple of years ago, he was getting emotional talking to these guys. He
Yeah,
said, "Man, y'all just hang on, stick with me." He said, "I love this thing, I love this team, and we're gonna be something. Just give me some time." And this guy would get emotional, man. Right? And I'm not. There's nothing wrong with a personality of a guy that smiles a lot.
no,
But is he smiling or is he laughing? You know, um, if you can catch what I'm saying, okay,
I think he's too damn unfocused.
right? That's what I'm saying. Are you smiling or are you laughing? If you're laughing, you're not focused, buddy. If you're always high spirited, sometimes you the leader. Sometimes you've got to show everybody else how they need to carry themselves. And that lackadaisical attitude that he shows, it spills over into the rest of the franchise.
This
Hey man,
this
it's
leads
okay. It's okay to
yeah
lose.
that
It's
yeah
okay to play bad. Let's just smile and all our troubles will go away. That's
this
what I see in him.
this leads me into my next question. I want to get into kind of our last couple of coaches, but also want to because one of the things Dan Quinn got a lot of criticism for, especially at the end of his time, was essentially Dan Quinn was too friendly with players. It didn't feel like he was giving players a swift kick in the ass. Raheem Morris was right beside Dan Quinn, by the way.
There you
It feels
go.
like all the issues that we had with Quinn we have now, but they're on steroids. And I want to ask you, what do you think Raheem is actually like behind closed doors?
A politician.
Do you think he shows emotion? Do you think he shows care? Or you think he's trying to sell things? He's trying to sit up there and run a political campaign every week.
He's a finesser. He finesses.
But do you think he's doing this? With I know I said we got some young guys, we also got some veterans. Do you think he's doing this with, some of these guys like Jake Matthews who have been in the league for years in the same room?
He probably don't. Man, he probably don't even mess with Jake. As many
Well, I mean,
penalties as Jake gets,
yeah,
he probably don't even say anything to Jake, man,
no, because I mean, yeah,
because he's a veteran. He's been in the Falcons longer than he has. So
no.
I'm not gonna mess with Jake. I'm
But
not gonna
but
mess with Jake.
but what about these younger guys? What do you think?
He wants. To me, I think he wants them young guys to feel like he understands them. He understands them, and um, so he's gonna approach them in a way to keep them comfortable. And that's
So
the wrong way to run it. And that's the wrong way to run a
yeah,
team when you got those many different personalities in a team. You can't, like I used to tell people when I was in the working world, and they wanted me to be one way with this person and one way with this person. I said my personality is not that flexible.
you got to be consistent.
I'm consistent. When I used to perform my duties with the people that needed me, I was the same with everybody. I
Oh,
was professional, but I followed the protocol of the company that I work for. Like, and Raheem is not doing that. Raheem, he has a very flexible personality to me. Nobody. Have you heard any players say anything negative about Raheem?
No,
Okay, then
no.
that's what I'm gonna hang my hat on. Nobody's had no issues with Raheem. He's trying to make everybody happy, and you know that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
So I also think another thing too with because I was getting ready to actually ask you this. We may have someone else coming in a second. I was getting ready to ask you
okay,
though. What about the history of Falcons coaches? Where because I was talking about this with actually my grandparents, and I was telling them I feel like Mike Smith is actually the last good coach we've had. I said I felt like we got one big spark year out of Quinn with Shanahan basically carrying 90% of the load. And I'm about to welcome Evan up in here. What's going on, Evan? But I pretty much felt like that we had Quinn being Shanahan was 90% of the low for 16. And then pretty much 17. I mean, there were 2 years you had with Quinn where you made the playoffs. And these last two coaches have been absolutely they've been awful hires. Mike Smith, I felt like, was the last good coach we had. And with Mike Smith, a lot of things were boring. A lot of things were essentially just, it was a lot of boring stuff. It was just take care of business and that be that and move on to the next week. But you won football games with Mike Smith. You
right,
got to the playoffs with Mike Smith. And I feel like when you let Mike Smith go and you brought Quinn in, it was just the energy Quinn brought. It was just such a shock almost that, yeah, it was going to kind of give you a bolt of energy. And we saw that with his first year, a 5-0 start that turned into a 3-8 finish. 16
hmm.
was obviously the big year, but and a lot of people forget about 16. We were a good team that year, but we were just kind of floating around as a good team until around like after Thanksgiving. That's when we really took off. And then obviously we know it ended in the Super Bowl. And 17, I just felt like it was a lot of a lot of the momentum still you had from 16, despite how the Super
Well,
Bowl
Chandler,
went.
17, you're one play away from the NFC Championship
I
game, man.
understand that, but that's where I'm saying 17. I feel like there was still a lot of stuff that was leaking over from 16, and a lot of that momentum. You still had a good team in 17, but there were a lot of things that leaked over. And then 18, you could maybe say it was the injuries that year, but man, ever since that, it's been you see night and day that
It's been a dumpster fire, is what
it's
it's
been a
been.
dumpster fire. Yeah.
Yep.
And the fellas, I didn't even watch the game today. I had a job obligation, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. I saw Twitter after the game. I think I called Chandler, he couldn't answer, and I called some of my other Falcons buddies. But here's what I feel bad about. I feel bad for the fans who spent their hard ass earned money to watch this game because the tickets weren't cheap. They went up like $95 for the nosebleeds, and I just hate that the younger generation of Falcons fans didn't get to see what we saw in the early 2000 or the early 2010s. Man, like
Yeah.
it's sad what it's turned into, and I love Arthur Blank. I love what he does for the city and how great of a man he is, but I think it's time for a whole
It's
new
time.
ownership,
It's time.
whole new staff. It's time for a whole new hell. Give us a new logo or something to make a change, man.
That's what I was saying. It's time. It's time for something new because I feel
And
like
I
It is.
told Chandler this too. I was like, Chandler knows I'm not a huge Coach Raw guy, but I said maybe his second opportunity when we hired him. All right, maybe it would make a change, but he still just can't coach. Some guys are made for the big fights, and some guys just aren't made for it at all. And he's one of those guys that just needs to be a coordinator and stay away from coaching because he can for sure cannot coach, man.
once again, I don't even know if he's a coordinator.
Well, he had Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and
Yeah, I
Eric
don't know if
Weddle.
he's even. I think he's a position coach, honestly.
But
Mm.
here's the thing: you fire him, guys. Who are we gonna go out and get?
That's the question. Who are you gonna go get?
Mike
That that's
McCarthy?
that's what makes this.
Like
I mean, man, Dirty. What do you think about Mike McCarthy?
He, he I don't know that much about him. I have, but it would be an upgrade. It would definitely be an upgrade.
I said
Um,
I think Flores would be. I'd like to see Flores brought in. That's someone who
I
has a New
think
England. That's someone who he was there in New England. I think that could. I don't think he was done a lot of service with Miami and what they gave him. So I think Flores and
you got to give Kingsbury a call. I feel like.
man, I don't. I feel like with Kingsbury, man, there's just some guys that once again though are they. I mean, now here's the other thing too. You got to get someone in here that's going to work with Penix.
so you're saying you want an offensive minded head coach or a
We just want a
defensive
coach
minded
that can
head
coach
coach?
ball.
We
We're
want
tired
to.
of these players, coaches, and these just big
But
money like Arthur
Yes,
Smith guys. We want a
we
damn football coach.
but
we
see,
We
need
that's
want a
a
going to be
Jimmy
a part of your
Johnson.
identity, though. See, what I'm saying is, if you get an offensive minded coach, then pretty much your identity is going to lean towards that, in my opinion.
Man, I tell you what, I wanted Mike McDonald when we interviewed him. I told some of my buddies, I said, man, if we get him, Atlanta native, Roswell native, we're
That's who
gonna
we
be
should have
good.
got. That's who
You
we
look
should
at
have
look who
got.
you missed on. You missed on Vrabel. You missed on Harbaugh. You missed on Mike McDonald. You missed on Ben Johnson.
Some people wanted Belichick.
It's
Honestly,
just it's
I
so
think we would
funny to
still be the same
me.
with Belichick.
It's so funny to me that with someone like Vrabel, it feels like the only and maybe Vrabel turned us down, but it feels like the only main thing that went against Vrabel from this is the only one thing that went against Vrabel. If Vrabel did not have this thing going against him, he would have been the perfect candidate. Was that he wanted Arthur Smith to be his offensive coordinator. That's the only thing that went against Vrabel.
Well, Fable
I
got
don't think,
a
and the
five
thing
game
is,
winning streak.
Chandler, you fire Raheem, do you keep Terry?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. That because I don't know if Terry's going to see a third head coach.
Do you think they make a move tomorrow? Because I've been hearing some people say that they think they're gonna make a move tomorrow.
I don't. I'm not expecting a
I
move
doubt it.
tomorrow.
I
I'm
mean,
not
you got
expecting.
30-0. No, hold on. You got 30-0 by the Panthers, and you just got what, 34-10 by the Dolphins? Come on.
I'm not expecting him. We'll get a move. I think the only way we get a move before the end of the year is if like this turns into a. Let's see. We lose our next three following this, and that would be a 5-game losing streak. If we end up losing like Carolina week, when is it? Our next home game? Yeah, it'll probably that I think has a chance to spell the end of Raheem, and they bump Ulbrich up to interim. But even here's the thing: at this point, I was saying this earlier. With how this team is, they'll find a way to win in New England and then lose to the Saints and Jets. That's what makes this team frustrating.
I'll be surprised if we win more than two more games.
That's what.
Mm,
Hey, you want to hear my prediction at the start of the season? What's your name?
330.
330.
330. I told Chandler, I said, we gonna start off 1-6. He thought I was crazy.
I call
He thought
bullshit on it. Yeah.
he thought I was crazy. I said, we gonna lose to the Dolphins, we gonna lose to the Panthers, we gonna lose to the Vikings. He got me right on that one. And I said we were gonna lose to the Bills. I mean,
How do you
I
how
knew
do
this
you
team
feel
was
about
bad.
how do you feel about sending Penix to New England next week?
I mean, we gotta win. How many? We gotta win. You think
It's
10 games gets us in?
well,
10
no. I
games
mean,
gets us in the playoffs?
answer the question though.
Wild card.
Are you comfortable with Penix starting next week in New England, or do you really think it
No,
doesn't matter?
I don't.
Do you,
I don't. I think we have a quarterback issue from coaching. Look how Penix stands in the pocket compared to his Washington days. Just
do you
watch the tape from.
okay? But do you think it matters though with the quarterback? Do you think it matters?
I'll give you about 30% it matters. I just think this team's horribly coached, man. Receivers can't get open. O line can't block nobody.
And the blind side changed this game too. So
That
Yep.
is also true.
Hell, Chandler, I don't even think our defense knows the difference between zone and man. We looked lost in the secondary today. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
We looked
we
lost.
had
No,
nothing.
no.
We had nothing.
Miami turned that shit into a track race.
We had
It-
guys ball watching. Like this is like hold on, this is like Pee Wee football, man. Like it's just the simple things, man. The simple things.
JD boy, they gassed him. They went at him with everything. And I don't understand why Ulbrich didn't make it. Well, they did make adjustments. They started sending Bertrand in towards the line of scrimmage to kind of fill a hole in, and then they started running stuff behind the linebackers.
Also, the fall off of Jesse Bates needs to be studied. He's
He
been
was helping.
non-existent.
He was helping other guys. He was covering up for other guys.
Yeah, because other guys are lost out there, man.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
I
speaking of Jesse Bates, because I was just seeing it. It was Bates who caused that Bertrand to not have that interception. That is just fucking selfish gameplay.
He shouldn't have never been there. He should have even never been there.
That is selfish gameplay.
And
You
that
had
hurt
an
us too.
interception. It did, because what was the score at that point? It was still only what? He would have gotten that.
We was
He
down
had
by
no one
10,
in
I
front of
think.
him.
game. Whole new ball game.
Whole new
He
ball
had
game.
no one in front of him.
Whole new ball game.
See,
Hell,
they were helping him so much that they overhelped.
and that's coaching. 3 dirty. That's
Yeah.
coaching. And we couldn't get the run game going today, is what I heard. I saw Miami's ranked 30th in run defense. We couldn't get the run game going.
Chandler, tell him how many times Bijan touched the ball.
So our superstar playmaking
MVP
running
level.
back touched the ball. Guess how many times?
I'm gonna guess 9 times.
Are you going total or
You talking
Just
about running or?
I'm
or
talking
total?
about. I'm talking about running the ball.
Yes, 9 times. So how many times do you think he got it through the air?
Like once.
3. So he got it 12 times today.
Who was getting all the targets? Did Kirk have time to throw?
Dude, this is another issue I want to talk about. The receivers didn't know the fucking routes.
Man, it was some terrible
And
route
we already
running.
fired the receivers coach.
Well, that's another subject. That was a scapegoat subject there.
And Blake told me, Chandler, we ran a screen pass for Kyle Pitts.
Multiple times, if I'm not mistaken.
This is just coaching malpractice, man.
Yeah.
I bet they put us 3 on the staff and we would coach the team, we would put up 28 points today.
Kyle Pitts would have never got a screen. I know that.
And we would know if we were in man or zone because our cornerbacks for sure didn't know what defense we were in.
But yeah, that's now that and by us not, if we don't go, all right, the trade deadline is coming, right? In a week or so. Are we gonna go get a linebacker? Are we gonna bring Troy Anderson back?
Can we get a
there's
receiver?
a hole in our defense.
Are we even fucking with the deadline at this point?
You drop Ray. You gonna pick up a receiver? I hope so.
I mean, you have to. But see, I would love to say that you're gonna pick up a receiver, but man, even at that, I mean, that improves things a little bit. But I mean, I even still think like the fact that David Sills was out there today. Oh my god,
That says a lot.
This is
Now, was that Ray firing an ego thing, or
I
I'm
think
gonna
it's
show
an
you who the
injury
boss
thing.
is? Huh?
I think Ray's been injured this whole time.
You think he's injured?
I think he's injured.
Oh, okay.
I think
and,
Chandler.
and New
You
York
thought
picked
that
him
too,
up.
right, Chandler?
I think the Ray stuff is honestly, I think he's got an issue with Raheem. I think it was an issue with Raheem actually. I think he was injured, but I also think it's an issue with Raheem, maybe an issue with Robinson also.
But here's the thing, y'all. When you're 3-4 in the NFL, your record speaks for yourself, and this is when teams start checking out.
Yeah,
We checked out today. They checked out. They went down
yeah.
17-3. Ah, we're
I
gonna
didn't want to
lose this
say that,
game.
but that's what it looked like to me.
And they were
Yeah,
checked out.
no, I mean
They look
they
like they look
checked
like
out,
LSU. Hey, they look like LSU last night. What did LSU do about 2 hours ago? Fire their coach.
Wow.
especially the defense. The defense looked so checked out today in that second half.
Winning organizations fire coaches after this. They do. You think Robert Kraft would settle with a 34-10 loss?
I don't think
Yep.
he'd settle with the inconsistency we've seen week after week
You
after
think
week.
John Lynch would settle with a 34-10 loss and be
Okay, then
three and
what they're going to
four?
do? Interim head coach at that point,
Yeah, so I mean
and who
that's
would
Yeah, you
really
that
got
be?
you
Gray,
Ulbrich.
Ulbricht
he's already
over
been an
Gray?
interim. We already seen with that.
But I mean,
I don't
see,
know.
okay, but you want to fire Raheem, but okay, what's the plan? Because I mean, you got ten
Zach's
games
got to
left,
go
bro.
too. Zach's got to go too. It's got to be a whole new staff.
You got to wait till the offseason to get the new
I'm not.
staff.
I'm not saying fire anybody. I'm just saying, what if we do fire this guy? What are we going to do?
Got to get an interim. I don't care if it's the special teams coach, linebackers coach. I don't care
Oh,
who it is.
but Evan, it's once again. I'm gonna say this. We know at this point, the moment Raheem Morris gets fired, and the season's already pretty much over.
Over.
It's over. But the moment that you do that, this is now really where at this point you have 10 games left, and there's so much still. I mean that you got to go through. And here's the thing, gentlemen, our off season coming up, we're only really going to be able to do so much.
Right.
We don't have a lot of money. We don't have a first round pick. So even at this point, man, we're not. Everyone's talking about tanking. There's nothing to tank for.
Right. We don't. We're not going to have a first round pick. So, and even if you did do that, your record's not going to be bad enough for it to benefit you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
there's a lot of questions in the air with no answers.
so I want to ask y'all the question because I'm probably I'm getting a little tired, but I want to ask y'all some more questions before we get out of here. So number one, man, what would y'all say there is for the rest of this season to really, I guess, just look at essentially? Not even look forward to, but I guess just look at essentially.
Can we win multiple games in a row?
Not this season.
What are you looking at, Dirty, as someone who goes to the games?
Can we play at least good enough to identify what direction we need to head moving forward?
Okay.
I
What?
just don't know who you're going to hire, man. Like, we
Right.
know
That's the
Raheem's
thing.
gone. We know he's gone.
I
Yeah.
know that answer sounds kind of vague, but even in a bad situation, you still have to be able to put your finger on the problem.
And that's the thing, I think the issue right now. We don't have a pulse on what this team actually we know what the problem is, but we don't have a pulse on what team is going to show up.
Right. So
And
so you have no idea what to do.
we are now a bottom 5 scoring offense. The only teams that are worse than us are the Browns, the Raiders, the Titans, and the Saints.
Uh, that's a tough group to be in.
17.1 points per game. And you have to name off. You got Bijan, you got Drake London, you got Mooney, you got Algier, you got Pitts. You got these 5 weapons at your disposal, and you're a bottom 5 offense in the league.
Right. That's wicked, bro. That's wicked.
That's people not doing their jobs.
And what's Raheem what would say, Chandler? Oh, we gotta look at the tape. We gotta look at the tape next on
Yeah,
Monday. We'll look at the
that's the
tape.
number one. Yeah.
Okay.
Look, the tape speaks for itself. If you got to go back and look at stuff that you witnessed in person week after week, I mean,
To identify what you got
we want
going
to go
on.
back. We want to, yeah, you saw that. You saw that. You saw what you got going on. There's really no other point in watching tape if you're not going to fix anything.
So obviously they
At this
didn't
point-
watch any tape after San Francisco.
At
We
this
looked
point,
worse.
man, I'm being completely dead honest. At this point, man, I'm begging somebody, and maybe it's got to be Michael Penix, and this is where I really want to call Michael Penix out on, man. I need Michael Penix to step up as a leader. I feel like Michael Penix, it still feels like they have a little bit of a leash on him. I need him to step up as a leader and make his voice heard.
That might be a spark. That might create a spark if somebody steps up and
Because,
take
man,
over the leadership.
I don't know if y'all remember this. Dirty, you might. Back in I think it was 20. What was the year that we started like 1-6? What was the year?
Was it 2020 or 2021?
No, it was like
No,
20.
before that.
It was before that. I'm talking about. It was the year we went on the big winning streak to finish the season. 2019. It was the year Quinn saved his
2019.
job. I'll never forget after a game that we got absolutely killed by at home. And I think we were playing the Rams. After that game, and man, that was one of the worst Sundays you could have had. Because, man, they whooped us around the field. And Matt Ryan also think got injured in that game. And then afterwards, man, guess is someone after that game finally snapped and just went off. Guess who it was? Y'all remember?
Was it Grady Jarrett?
Dirty, do you remember who it was?
No, I do not.
Julio went in that locker room and he went off. He went off on everyone.
Wow.
So who's going to be that guy?
Chandler, if I were you, I would stop going to the games. I know that is your team, but man,
I already got my tickets. And you're going to tell, are you going to tell Dirty that too? I mean, we got our tickets already, bro.
y'all got scammed, bro. I'd be asking for a refund.
We got our tickets.
I got my tickets, man. I got my tickets to go watch them play, man.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to finish my point. Julio was always known when he was here, essentially, as he was always quiet. He always just went to work out on the field and never really heard much of Julio outside of that. We knew, he liked to be on his boat on Lake Lanier, but really outside of that, Julio didn't do a whole lot. But after that game, man, Julio snapped and Julio went off because of how passionate he was, and he was fed up. He knew if no one else was going to take a stand, he had to. And, after that, the team ended up finishing that year 6-3 after that. They ended up going on a winning streak. A fire was lighted under them.
They didn't have no choice if Julio said something, because Julio put in work, before the injuries. Julio put in work.
And I'm saying this: who really is that guy on this team, though? Who's going to do that?
I don't. I don't.
Grady's gone.
Nobody.
I mean, look, Bijan. I don't think Bijan's that guy. I really don't.
Nah.
It's got to be the only guy who I think could do it is Penix, because Penix is the quarter. Penix has to be the one. He's got to be that one who steps up, and he's got to just go off. And honestly, man, this is where I need Penix to really step up and take matters into his own hands. Penix is not perfect, but at least what Penix needs to go do and say, listen, we're all growing together. But are you going to continue to be held back week after week, or are you going to grow? And they need to get together, and they need to honestly come up with their own game plan. Because it cannot be worse than what the coaches are coming up with.
I don't even think the coaches got a game plan, to be honest.
I don't know, because they're running the same 5 formations. So these players, they know their strengths. They know their strengths from college, and that is where I say you need that is where the players at this point, they need to step up. Who's going to step up? That is the big thing. That is my question. Who is going to step up at this point and emerge as the leader of this team? Because let me tell you something. Without someone like Grady in there, things can get very ugly if your team doesn't have a leader. This is where I think, Grady, he was underestimating how much of a stabilizing factor he was. Grady kept guys focused.
Yeah.
Even last year, Grady kept guys focused. He kept them grounded. This is where the absence of someone like Grady is showing, because you got an inconsistent team. And I'm willing to say that, man, if Grady was here, I don't know if we win the 2 games versus the Panthers and Dolphins, but I think we look more focused.
Yeah. We need a leader. We don't need a hype man.
You need a leader. And that at this point, man, that has to be Penix.
But Chandler, you said we said it all year. Raw has one job, and what was it?
Just be the CEO. Make sure everything's running smoothly. He doesn't call plays. That's what his job is. Shout out to the Dixon way.
Oh, Larry, that's my guy.
Yeah, is he coming up?
Man, that link's still in there, man. Y'all want to come in.
Hey, man, Larry need to come in.
We need more people up here, man.
We need to
get Blake up in here.
We need to get these conversations really, I think, going, because there's things that you can talk about, things that are obvious. But at this point, man, who's going to step up? That's what I'm looking at. Who's going to step up? Who's going to take a stand? Because it ain't going to be this coaching staff. This coaching staff is the root of the problem. And I even think that, honestly, they kind of know it. Deep down, they know this is their fault. They know that, honestly, at the end of the day, these are people that essentially, the pressure of the job is too much to bear for them, basically.
It's a great point.
They don't know how to manage it.
Who's going to rally the troops is what's going to need to happen. Rally the troops.
That is what I was saying. It's got to be Penix. It's got to be Penix.
I just don't know how he's not fired already, man.
Well,
yep.
I know why he's not fired, because this organization, they're not. The only reason they fired Quinn so early is because Quinn started 0-5. That's the only reason. They're not going to fire Raheem until probably at earliest after the Carolina game, if he loses every game until then. Hold on. Someone else. Let's see who this is. What up?
What's going on, fellas?
Dig
Uh,
some
What's up,
way.
man?
aggravate. Still got a headache.
Man, it's all giving us a headache.
Yeah, Dustin, sitting here watching the Green Bay
Yeah,
uh,
I am
and,
too.
and listen to you guys. Just going through all the channels, seeing what everybody saying. It seems like it's consensus that Raheem and Zach Robinson need to go. Some people just saying Zach, but for the most part, I think it's all one big package. My thing is, will Terry Fontenot catch praise off of this, or do you guys think that Terry's done enough with the talent on this team to be a playoff team? And
See,
Raheem fumbling the bag.
see, that's the question. Are you go because remember the big thing with Terry, we've already been in the same we've had the same conversation already with one other head coach that we got
Yep.
rid of.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the reason we got rid of Arthur Smith? This is a playoff team. He wasn't able to get them there. That was the reasoning. And so
Well, I would say with Arthur Smith, he got fired because he chose Desmond Ritter and basically said he didn't need preseason outside of that one drive. And Raheem is going to get fired because instead of having competent offensive defensive coordinator veterans at that, he brought in brand new guys wet behind the ears because
yeah,
he wanted to start his own coaching tree. You know, that was selfish. It's like, oh yeah, I've been through the fires. Now I'm finna get some guys and pick up some guys who I feel like are new hot shot guys on defense and offense coordinator. And they was way out of their league. Like,
yeah.
and to me, I don't think that I think we're kind of wasting Michael Penix right now with this Mickey Mouse offensive coordinator who told us
Look at
it's not
that.
scheme, it's about execution. It's actually about both, Zach. But when the entire NFL knows your playbook, you can't trick anyone, and they're gonna
Yeah.
dissect, learn how to break down your plays. That's why when every time we see the second tight end go across the formation, we know that it's a crackback because he's going to run against a grain because that's what Bijan is good at. Once you understand what they're trying to do, you can't fool anyone. You're in the pistol. Bijan is starting 9 yards behind the freaking line of scrimmage. Good luck. Good
And
luck.
here's the other thing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't your playbook installed before many? It's installed before OTAs. It's installed in the spring.
Yes, it is.
So there's no. I
What's
mean,
crazy
yeah.
is how good Zach was last year.
Zach wasn't even good
Was he?
last year. I feel
Hold on,
like I
hold on,
don't even
hold
think
on.
he was.
Hold on. Was he? Remember, did y'all see the last? So all of you guys saw Kirk Cousins cursing out Zach Robinson, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, in this game. Remember in the first 3 games of last season, we were stagnant. Zach was calling some BS, and then we started going to no huddle. I think that Kirk Cousins said, F this. I'm running the plays that I like. That's what he did on that last drive when we went. That's exactly
yeah.
what I think Kirk Cousins went rogue. They didn't really talk about it. Zach started to try to learn off that, but you see the arrogance in Zach Robinson when he said, "No, it's just an execution thing." You know what I'm saying?
No.
There wasn't a problem when we were going toe to toe with Tampa Bay, who seemed like one of the better teams. He was trying to justify it with excuses. You know what I'm saying? I think the Bills game gave us false confidence. You know what I'm saying? We're closer to what happened with the Panthers than what we did against Buffalo. And that's a ugly truth right now. This loss was worse than the Panthers.
It was at
Because
home. Yeah,
after the game, you know, we already had an example. not to take your opponents lightly. And then Miami, who are looking to quit on the season. They already got tickets for Cancun, ready to fire the coach. Came in here, walked in our trap, and took over our trap.
Yeah.
The
So
CEO didn't do his job. It's that
yeah.
simple, y'all.
Well, I want you to touch more actually on Zach and the whole no huddle thing with Kirk, because it definitely feels like now that there's more truth to that. But I also want to ask you about what we saw at the end of last season with Penix. What do you think that was just kind of a breath of fresh air and teams not having tape on Penix?
Absolutely. They didn't have tape
Okay.
on Penix. They didn't have tape on what Zach wanted to do with Penix. Guys, the fact that we ran under center play action 5 times this game and
Yeah.
have it once with Michael Penix is disgusting.
Yeah.
To have a quarterback that can barely move, but to have a guy that runs a 4-4, not run play action under center is disgusting. To have an offensive coordinator that's come down to the sideline, but never talks to Michael Penix. Never talked to Michael Penix. I've never seen a Microsoft Surface in his hand sitting there talking about the plays that they just did. But I saw it today with Kirk Cousins on the sideline, and that was my first crash out during the stream.
Oh my God.
It
So
was like,
let's dive into it. Why do we think that is? Green Bay just scored a touchdown. Why do you think that is?
that's the $1 million question, man. Me and my wife point this out every time. Like, he came down to the sideline. We was like, okay, well, we don't see him really interacting with Michael Penix. It was always Doug Williams' son, who's the quarterback coach, always sitting on his side, talking to him after that. I've never once seen him, at least the camera never panned there in the 4 games. I never seen him talking to Michael Penix on the sideline. But I saw him all the time with Kirk Cousins. There's a disconnect with Michael Penix and this coach. I don't know if Michael Penix said something in private that pissed off Zach or whatever, but it's like, see, here's the thing. He can tell Michael Penix, shut up, I know what I'm doing.
No. He can't tell Kirk that, because Kirk was actually already playing in the league when Zach was still in the league as a backup.
Exactly. So and nothing to note, because I forgot he was a quarterback until I started hearing about him possibly leaving. I think that's the player that Mike Gundy was defending when he was talking about, I'm a man. I'm 40. Talk about me.
I
Leave
think,
it alone.
hey, to be fair though, Zach may get that Oklahoma State job. A lot of
He
I
rumors
needs
hope he
coming out of
does.
Stillwater.
Hope he does.
He needs to get on. He need to ride out. Cowboy up. Ain't that what they say? Whatever they say, get
Something
on.
like that. But I
Yeah.
want to ask you. I don't know if you heard before you came on, right before. I was
Okay.
talking about someone needs to step up, and I mentioned when after that Rams game a
Yeah.
number of years back when Julio just went into the locker room and he let all the emotions out. He stepped up and he spoke up. He was the guy that had to do it. Julio never spoke up, but in that moment he spoke up and it lit a fire under that team. And that team, they were like 1-6, and they won a lot of they won some games, and some people would say it's meaningless, but they won games. That lit a fire under them. Do we have that guy to do it on this team, to light a fire under this team?
I would say no, because Michael Penix is very soft spoken.
And that's where I'm getting ready to get to.
Yeah, he's more of
Our quarterback needs to step up. Michael Penix needs to step up, and he needs to grow some fucking balls. He needs to let them drop. He needs to take this whole thing by storm.
Okay. Are they firing Zach Robinson?
Probably not.
At this point, probably not at this point. That's why I say Michael Penix needs to take this by storm.
How can he?
He can't do it.
He can't do it if he don't. if we're running the offense he's not really like totally familiar with, he has to lean on an offensive coordinator in the run game. I mean, that's everybody's friend. Look at Matt Ryan rookie year. Matt Ryan didn't light it up. He wasn't horrible like Peyton Manning or Troy Aikman, but he wasn't coming out like no world beater. You come out with a rookie quarterback and you lean on that run game and you expand the offense as you go along. The fact that we didn't play any preseason games with our starters was the first sign that Raheem should have been fired and it's OC. But again, if you guys know, right, Zach Robinson didn't even call any games in the preseason. Uh, Yates did, the quarterback coach. He did the offense coordinator. So again, our head coach allowed our basically our entire offense, the offense coordinator, and it's crazy. The offensive coordinator and the players skip preseason.
Sat
like,
out.
Need it. Like they didn't need it. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, because Zach didn't call plays in preseason.
No, Zach didn't call plays. So that's what I'm saying. Our offensive coordinator took the preseason off, and our entire starting lineup took the preseason off. But we were coming into a season pretty much like Ritter. We all felt like, he has a better, skill set and stuff like that. But we treated it the same exact way. And all the quotes like stats are for losers and we're going to be ready. We're still dealing with preseason crap. So, yeah, man, I mean, it's a total failure of leadership from the top to bottom.
How are we still dealing with preseason crap, though, when it's week 8, we've already had our bye week?
Because
How?
That's the root of the problem.
It's dysfunction, man.
Right.
And who's
what they were. And
who's at the core of it?
As a snake oil salesman, man. He fooled all of us. He talked a good game. Remember in his press conference, guys. I want you guys to remember this. Because Carrie, shout out to Carrie on One Time for the Fan. She brought up something on Twitter. She was like, she quoted him. It was like, it was about when he said, what do you say to the people that say you need preseason, when he was belittling D-Led, right? We all remember that when he belittled D-Led press conference, talking about, I don't need to address the people who say they don't have faith in this, this iteration of the Falcons. They living in the past. They need to get over that. But then his press conference, he specifically said, you know what? Atlanta, part of me, and I live with 28-3. He said that. So to come back the following year because somebody questioned you and you want to be snippy with that shows that you are false and phony from the door. So if anybody that felt 28-3 really felt it, would never say that to the media or to the fans. They would never say that. So you contradicted yourself there. And that's what I'm saying, man. Like, once that happened, man, I was just like, okay, I want things to work out for the best. But I really can't trust this dude what he say. You know what I'm saying? The whole quote, stats is for losers. Okay? But if we do something, we run it off stats. So, yeah, man, I mean, it trickles on down, man. Teams are treating us and showing that we are not prepared. We're not a serious team right now. And Raheem is not a serious head coach. He wants to be their homie instead of being their head coach. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, it's,
He wants everybody to be comfortable.
That's not, and you know what they say? To be successful, it's better to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want you to be the head coach, not the homie, not the head coach.
Well, I've been telling you, I told Chandler the day we hired him. It's not going to work out.
Well, I'm glad we didn't get Bill Belichick too, because that's a S show.
Yeah.
What?
I was.
That is an S show. And I'm glad I don't have him and his girl. And I'm one of the people that wanted Bill Belichick. But him
Yeah.
and his girlfriend and all that drama, I'm so glad that it's far away from the
Yeah.
Falcons. But this ain't much better. This ain't much better.
This is not much better at all. This is, I said, man, the guy who we should have hired is in Seattle right now.
I wanted Ben Johnson, but Ben Johnson turned us down. He said, I'd rather.
Ben Johnson turned everyone down, essentially.
Yeah,
But yeah, he turned us down.
yeah.
But the guy we should have got, who it really, it would not have been in any way crazy. He is in Seattle right now. He's got
Okay,
that team is one of the best teams in the NFC.
that's fair. That's fair.
They're winning games.
Look,
He's a young coach, but he's got a vision that Raheem lives off of a dream. He lives off of hopes and prayers. This man wakes up every morning and prays at the side of his bed that this is going to end up going right. Whereas you see guys like Dan Campbell, they have a vision and they're taking steps to implement it.
yeah, man. I'm at a loss of words, man. I try to give any head coach we get the benefit of the doubt. I try with Smith. I can't believe that Raheem is a worse coach than Arthur Smith, but it's
No,
true.
I can't.
It's actually the truth, and that's pretty disturbing. Our hiring process needs to change. It's I hate to even disparage Mr. Blank, but there's some kind of disconnect on we're hiring GMs or we're hiring coaches without the input, and it's coming back to bite us, unfortunately, man.
Do we need to start like bringing in a firm essentially to
We
hire
do
these
bring the
guys?
front, or what they say we do, but I think it's just Rich McKay looking over everything after the firm deciphers everything, and Rich McKay reporting to Arthur Blank.
So essentially, you're saying a firm wouldn't do shit because McKay is still at the end of the day he could manipulate anything.
Yeah, because they always have a firm that goes and vets out everyone, and then of course Arthur Blank had to have his meeting with him. But all in all, it's still Rich McKay who was on the sidelines today talking with Arthur Blank, and what 330 told me, he's sitting there animate with his hand like pissed off. And
It was.
but we were told that Rich McKay had nothing to do with the Falcons. Why is he talking with them? Go mess up the United like you did, and they horrible. So yeah, I mean, again, man, Arthur Blank best friend is Rich McKay, and he's never gonna fire him. And Arthur Blank gets attached to people. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, that's just what it is, man.
Do you think that?
I feel sorry for him personally. However, I can feel sorry for a billionaire, but I think he would be better basketball owner than NFL owner because he got the wrong people.
I want to ask you this also because Arthur Blank's son is starting to come more into the picture. He's starting to be more involved, it clearly seems like. Do you think that Arthur Blank's son, what you could obviously hope for is obviously Mr. Blank's time is on this earth is going to come to an end one day,
Yeah.
So do we think though that he is trying to already, or Rich McKay is trying to insert himself into basically the future of the Atlanta Falcons beyond Arthur Blank with Arthur Blank's son, or are we hopeful that Arthur Blank's son is going to go, this is going to be my team. I'm not going to let your ass influence me.
Have you ever watched Game of Thrones?
Mm-mm.
Okay. The elder statesman of the Lannisters, their father basically was the hand of the king, and he basically manipulated everything. One king died, his grandson, and basically it's just like Rich McKay is going to be a part of this organization until he doesn't want to be anymore, basically. I mean, when you fail as being a GM and you fail up to become the president of football operations,
How does that work?
and then you fail up to be the president of Arthur Blank, you know what I'm saying? Whatever that firm is, Arthur.
AMB
Yeah,
Sports and whatever.
exactly. Then you fail up to that, and then you fail up to just say, okay, we're just gonna move.
And he's also involved with the league. He's the head of rules or whatever it's called. So
Yeah. Oh,
do
that's
you
why we.
think there's some fear that like there's some shady shit that the Falcons have been doing, and like basically Rich McKay is holding Arthur Blank and the Falcons at ransom, that if he were to get fired by the Falcons and fully let go, Arthur Blank were to block him, never talk to him again, that essentially he would fuck over the Falcons.
I'm not sure about that, but I'm more thinking like they've done some. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. What
They're
he had
too
to.
intertwined.
I just think that that's his best friend in life, personally.
Right.
I think Rich McKay is his best friend in life now, ever since he separated from Home Depot, because I guess that was his best friend before his former partner.
Bernie Marcus, and
Yeah.
then
So when I look at it, Arthur Blank is a billionaire.
Arthur Blank's always had a partner. He had
Exactly.
Bernie Marcus, now he has Rich McKay.
Exactly. And that's just what it is. Like when he talks about Rich McKay, he lists off all the accomplishments like it's a resume. So he's just making sure that you guys understand what type of quality person and executive he is. So you won't even get any idea to question Rich McKay. Okay. That's why he put that installation between Rich McKay by saying Rich McKay going back to Arthur Blank Foundation, he's going to be ahead of the United side of things. Okay, it's all about Terry Fontenot, and that was all about optics because remember in that press conference to fire Arthur Smith, Terry Fontenot was in the back consoling people and getting
Right.
coffee. You know what I'm saying? And this is not me being facetious. This is what actually happened.
Right.
He was playing the role of a damn guidance counselor.
Exactly. But HR. He was HR. So yeah.
Do
Yeah,
we
man.
think that that's still his role to this day? Because I do get the feeling that these past few draft classes have been more so Terry's draft classes. But I mean, do you think that I'm wrong? Do you still think that it's all the way Rich McKay?
No, I think with Raheem, I think it's more Terry now. You know what I'm saying? We
Okay.
haven't seen Rich McKay on the podium. Now he has been in the rooms with those interviews when they talk to Terry, but he hasn't been up there to field any questions. And this team is now fully Terry's. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it took 2 out of the 4 years. Excuse me, it took 2 years or 3 years. My bad. So that was 3 years with Arthur Smith to actually get that. Now 2 years away from Arthur Smith, or going on 2 years away from Arthur Smith. Um, it's a results-based league. I think him and Raheem are not handcuffed together. He's going to catch a stray, even if
Yeah,
we,
that's what I'm thinking.
yeah, even if we feel like he's got enough talent for us to win. I mean, why are teams picking us as a dark horse at the beginning of the season if we don't have the talent? But talent ain't
No.
nothing if you make it with coaching. So, yeah.
Now, I think, I do think he'll catch a stray. Am I certain he will? I don't know, only because, but the thing is, man, it's just very, very, especially if Rich McKay were not here, I could actually maybe see Fontenot surviving a Raheem Morris firing. I don't see it with Rich McKay here. I think Rich McKay's the difference. I don't think Rich McKay has ever really thought too highly of Terry Fontenot. I think he has always thought of Fontenot as like an assistant, essentially, and that's
Hmm.
really been the thing. I think that it's going to be unfortunate, even though I don't necessarily fully feel bad for Terry because I do feel like he's made mistakes, but I do overall feel like he has put together a good enough roster. And I feel like, he has put together a pedigree. I feel like the draft classes have gotten better, and I don't, think he has had an opportunity to pick a head coach. So I'll say that if they were to let Terry survive to a third head coach, I would not complain about it. But at the same time, like then if that head coach don't work, then at that point you're looking at it as, man, we just wasted 8 something years with this dude.
Well, that's that, and that's kind of what I'm looking at now. Terry Fontenot, you can't justify. I don't know any GM that survives 3 head coaches. I don't.
No.
I mean, think about it. What GM has ever survived getting 3 head coach? What GM has ever made it to a third head coach? I can't. I mean, I'm not. I'm just trying to think. I don't remember a GM making it to a
I don't
third
either.
outside of the Steelers, but they only had 3 coaches in their franchise history, so that's kind of different. Um,
Do
yeah,
you remember also when Terry Fontenot, do you remember when that we signed him, how long that contract was for that we gave him?
it was 4 years. He had the exact same amount of years as Arthur Smith. There has been no word about his extension, but obviously he got an extension.
He had to have gotten an extension.
Yeah, it just was never any word about it. But he had a 4-year deal with Arthur Smith. I remember that.
I thought somewhere I saw he had a 5 because I never have heard anything about an extension.
Maybe it was a team option or whatever for 5.
If
But
it's 5 in that case, this is the final year.
yeah, my understanding it was 4. That he was coming into the season as his last season uh, with Raheem first season.
Yeah.
Something that was my understanding. And if it's 5, then that makes more sense.
Yeah,
And they're
if it's
yeah,
5, then this
then
is
he like
probably, if they decide to get rid of Raheem, they're not extending Terry. So
no, they're
they'll
not
they'll just
up and hopefully they do the right thing and not hire a coach before a GM
yeah.
or
Hold on, you may have gotten out.
Yeah, I think he was lost him.
Yeah. You might have cut now. You're gonna have to join back in. But no, he was talking about it's very true. Fontenot's
Right.
not gonna see a third head coach. And another, I think, really important thing that you have to look at is, you know, if this is the 5th year, and I was gonna ask him a question. I really hope he comes back. Let me ask you the question. What are the organizations that, talking about GM, and I fucking hate we're talking about this, but GM, what are some organizations you're looking at to get our next GM from?
Man, you know what? I I don't see us going to get a GM that's currently doing that job because I don't think that they're gonna want to come to Atlanta.
Well, no, but I'm saying, what organization do you think the Falcons might try to dip into to look for in a GM?
That's a good question, man.
You think they try to go somewhere like maybe a Pittsburgh or a Baltimore or somewhere like that?
I'm gonna have to think on that one because that is a good because they gotta want to come. They might go and talk to him, but they have got to want to come to
Oh
here
damn,
to
Green Bay's
clean
got the
this up.
ball again. Man, the Packers,
Yeah.
they may end up winning this thing. I'm
Oh, they gonna win this game. Kraft is having a career day.
See, man, this is what I'm talking about. You get these teams like Green Bay, successful organizations. These are successful organizations.
But they're successful, but them GMs, man, they don't. You know what? I don't think they would make a lateral. I don't think they would make a lateral move to Atlanta. That's why it's hard for me to say where they could go and just pick up a GM. They might be able to get an assistant or something, but you see how that's working out,
Yeah.
for us. Not that Terry's a bad GM, but it's just I don't think we're running our structure like we should. I don't think that we
No,
I don't
it's
think that
definitely
that
not
the
being ran.
structure is not right. The chain of command is not right in how we're doing
No.
things here in
So
Atlanta.
I want you to explain the chain of command of what
Okay.
how you see it.
Um, that's why I want Larry to come back because I sure was going to ask him. Remember, I said that earlier. I was going to do some research
Yeah.
on the structure of the
Yeah, we
franchise
definitely. I'm gonna put
before I
this link
spoke on
back
it.
in because I definitely would like to have him come back. But no, it's always been it was a conversation. I think when old boy got fired a couple of years ago. What's the structure and chain of command really like?
Because when they did the hiring process with Arthur Smith, everybody came out and said, um, "That's not how you do it." And
Yeah.
then when they had the conversation with what it was Rich McKay and Mr. Blank, and they was like, Fontenot's supposed to be in there, or your GM's supposed to be in there, not those guys. So I was like, maybe I'm not looking at it right, and that's why I said I need to do my due diligence on that research there because obviously we're missing something.
Yeah.
So
So I'm looking at once again though, because one of the things is we don't have a first round pick next year,
right,
and that's right now. That pick could look like it's going to be high, and guess who that pick is going to? The Rams.
mm,
And the history of that organization, that pick might end up that could be a big pick for them. They may use that to like get their future quarterback.
right,
So, man, it's just really. I feel like Pierce. I was really excited for Pierce because I really did feel like he could be a very big impact guy if you just. It still doesn't feel like they have fully unleashed Pierce. I don't know
nah.
if you're noticing it. Does it still not feel like he's getting as many snaps as he supposed to? That's all right, man. The link's still back in there. You can come right back in. Uh, but does it still really not feel like he's not getting the reps he's supposed to?
Nah.
So I mean, yeah, you spent a first round pick on him, and yet you're not giving him the reps. Honestly, him and Walker should have been starting from the get go. That is
What I
where
was
it should have.
thinking, you
Yeah,
trade back up to get him, and then you playing him like you drafted him in the third or fourth
yeah.
round.
You're drafting him. You're playing him like he's a project essentially.
Right.
You can't be doing that.
No. You're wasting you're overstocking your shelves. You know, you're overstocking your shelves, and you're not selling anything. So that's what they did. You went and
Yeah,
got two edge guys, and you push your chips to in the middle of the table, um, on your offense.
Yeah.
by doing that to me. So here we are.
So yeah, that's I think once again just leads you back to the same point. Today was an absolutely awful game, but one of the things I thought about is the past couple years with these Falcons teams, it really feels like, we've been seeing a lot of inconsistency, but we've also been seeing, a lot of close games where it's the quarterback throws three interceptions, or we have a 10-point lead that we blow, or we had a bad call that didn't go our way, or this or that. Whereas it feels like the losses we've had this year, the mask has been unveiled. We see the weakness of the team. There is no close games. There's none of that. You're seeing the team be bad.
Yep.
You're seeing that the team could be at times good and promising, but the team more times than not, especially in the last two games, has looked bad. And once again, you're not going to get anywhere looking. You're not going to get anywhere with the track record you have.
No, we're not.
Even if you do find a way to steal one of your next two, because then we just know, okay, you got a game you got a few games late next month you're supposed to take care of. You're going to find a way to crap the bed.
That's what I'm seeing. That was proof today. Even
And
when
man,
we had good drives, we shot ourselves in the foot.
yeah.
And and to think anything other than that, um, I'm gonna say it's being optimistic, but I could call it something else, but I'm not. You know.
So this is something that I actually also just realized. This is the Falcons' fifth loss by at least 20 plus points under Raheem Morris.
Wow.
You notice with Arthur Smith, there were a lot of close games with
Oh
him.
yeah.
A lot of these games, one possession, defense didn't hold up. With this guy, it's just like it's super fragile when things look promising, and when it's bad, it's bad.
It's terrible. And that's why we can't really put our finger on anything because we're all over the place. It's
Yeah,
we're firing all over the target.
yeah. It's like a chicken with its head cut off, basically.
Yep. So
So that's
it's going to be a very interesting week.
well, it's going to be a very interesting week. It's honestly going to be a very it's something where at this point it's a struggle for me to not look forward. I always want to look into what we have in the future, but honestly, like man, this is honestly at a point where with this team, man, you gotta. Oh shit! Did Green Bay get that ball
Oh
back? If they
yeah,
got
they
that
got it
ball.
back.
They got
That
it back.
game is
That's game over.
oh, it's over. When they kicked that field goal, it was over.
Yeah. Hold on. Y'all want the truth? Y'all ain't ready for the truth? Arthur Smith hire Raheem because a pushback starts at the top.
Mm.
What do you think? You think? But I mean, what pushback though?
Yeah, that's
Is
what
the
I
thing.
fixed to say. He needs to type what the pushback was
What
or
what
will
what is the
be.
pushback? Oh yeah, no that is game. That's game over. I Green Bay went in there. They won that game.
But see, that's how you grind it out.
Yeah.
Because I thought
And
I thought Pittsburgh was going to. I thought
I
Pittsburgh
thought
had
so
them.
too. I thought so too. But see, the thing is, man, Pittsburgh was up like what 19-14, and then after that, Green Bay they've scored like
So,
20 something points unanswered.
yeah, right, unanswered. With that crazy defensive pickup they got
Yeah,
from Dallas. That hey that helped their defense tremendously.
yeah. It's like I say, it's even hard to be angry at this point. I mean,
Oh no,
you're obviously angry, but it's just so hard to be filled with rage. Other than just, I mean, at this point, you see what it is.
that's what it is. That's the only thing we can put our finger on. It's what it is.
Yeah.
Everything else, we've got to do some deep diving and
I mean, man, look, at this point, I was just looking at something on Twitter, and it was saying, man, at this point, have Kirk call the plays. I'm like, shit. At this point, how worse could it really be to have him call the plays?
now that would be an interesting move to um release Zach of his play calling duties.
But see, how would that? How I don't think that's how it would work. But I mean, that would be very interesting. Have Kirk. Honestly, I don't know how worse it could be because we were just talking about it. How Kirk with that no huddle essentially went fuck it, and we saw that be some of the best the offenses looked. I mean, I truly don't know how worse it could be.
Well, I'm looking for something to change. It could be a minor change, but offensively, there has to be um some changes
At most,
going into New England.
it'll be either some reshuffling or it'll be like the I kill you're firing. They'll fire some offensive assistant.
That and we got to do something with JD.
They'll
Some
reshuffle a couple things. Yeah,
well, but if they say we're gonna stick to our guns and go to New England, huh,
they can't do that.
better not.
We'll see them shuffle some things up a little bit. I don't think it's really gonna make a big difference though. But at the end of the day, this is a New England game. I mean, this is game versus New England. Look, Raheem, this might be one of those games that, considering obviously, the prior circumstances this team has had, of course, against the Patriots, who know what those are. Raheem, this might be a type of game where he tries to get all the troops up to play for, and they come out and win. That's going to be a very even more confusing thing.
Do you think they're gonna listen to him?
Who
I think
the
the
players?
players. Yeah,
Man,
I don't think.
we're gonna see we're gonna see, I think, this New England game. That's gonna be the biggest telltale sign of the Patriots game next Sunday. Has Raheem fully lost the locker room?
He might get them started, but as soon as we go there and something happens, them guys gonna
Yeah.
be like, "Here we go again."
It might be, yeah, we may come out, we may score a touchdown, but like it's gonna the Falcons have to play perfect to win. That's not how the NFL is supposed to be.
You beat the 1-6s instead of losing to them.
Yeah. That's where you start. You take care of business against the inferior opponents. And then commonly, as long as you split the teams that are better than you,
Right.
then you're all right. It was just like it was just like kind of the Mike Smith thinking. You win all your home games, you split your road games.
Right. Great philosophy. But we
And
can't do that. We can't win our home games, and we definitely don't win outside.
no.
And that's why I'm
So,
saying the elements are against us going into this next game.
yeah, we may get something going against New England early, but then, I mean, the moment that there's a 3 and out, or the moment that, we feel like some call didn't go our way that should have, it's going to be, it's literally going to be how are we going to respond? And this team is not capable of responding.
Because nobody did rally them to respond.
Mm-mm.
That's when that rallying come in to play. When that one little kink comes up and they say, man, we ain't worry about that. We got
Yeah.
this.
Realistically, how many more wins are you expecting for the season? I mean, you may have already answered actually, but how many more
Two,
wins are you expecting? You know
two,
where those two are?
no.
You,
Um, eh, um, the Jets, and after this was before I was calling that game, but they made a good comeback today. They might mess around and be rallying. Um, I'm gonna have to go back over the list.
maybe they get like the Panthers the second time.
Maybe that's a maybe now because the Panthers 4-4,
Well,
and they're
they
not.
got
Oh,
murdered by
they
Buffalo
got
today.
yeah, they got Molly Wop today. So we'll say the Saints,
Saints
Carolina.
once, Carolina, and the Jets.
If we lose to the Jets, mm,
So what you saying about 6 wins is what we're going to end the season with?
no more than 7. And that 7 has been haunting us for a while.
Yeah, and see that's what I'm saying though. Once again, this is where not having a first round pick comes. It comes into play now because you let it.
And I would like to be wrong. I would love for Raheem and the rest of the staff to prove me wrong. Show me something different.
Have you ever been wrong before on a Falcons team?
Hmm. Um. Yeah. I've and like a lot of people, I've probably given them more credit than I should have.
Hmm.
But underestimating them, nah. Mm-mm. I've overestimated them, but never under.
So you've never underestimated this team.
No.
Mm,
Mm-mm.
mm-mm.
That year we
Man,
lost that year we lost the last 8. I forgot what year it was, but a partner of mine that we was going to the games, together, and I told him, I said, "Boy, we're playing so bad. I doubt we win another game." And we went. If I'm not mistaken, we lost 8 straight. Yep.
mm-mm,
We'll
mm-mm.
see. We'll.
We'll
I'm not
see.
gonna bash them too much. Well, we'll see next week. It's
Well,
always
yeah.
next week.
Shit, we may be coming on here next week talking about the season being back on. For all we know, these motherfuckers they may
Nah,
come out and
they're gonna have to really show me something. That's just like I
that's
said. That's just like I said. Even if we had to beat Miami and we barely beat them, I would be talking the same way I am right now.
yeah. I probably honestly would too. I was even thinking like, man, even if I was thinking now 17-3, even if we come back and win, it'll be what was that one game last year? It was the Monday night game against the Raiders, I think. I was like, man, we don't deserve to. We played that game like we didn't deserve to win, like we weren't
Exactly.
there to win. So it would have been kind of like this game. But I think it's fitting where there is no sugarcoating. There is no. hiding behind any blanket. It's just, it is what it is, essentially.
Right. Young man, you sound sleepy, bruh.
I'm getting there. I'm certainly getting there. I'm sure.
Right.
I'm sure you are too.
Well, I got to get on the road tomorrow. I'm gonna go
You
back. 7 hours, bruh. You know, we
seven
already
shit.
had that conversation
Yeah,
on the
7
Wolf
hours.
Channel.
I'm sure you going.
7 hours.
You gonna leave early.
Probably maybe 8 o'clock.
All right, that'll get you probably back home about like dinner time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, look, you got four more trips to make this year, man. So
No problem. It ain't no problem. I'm used to that.
ain't no problem. Yeah. All right. I think that's about enough. I think
Okay.
we've pretty much went through everything. So, man, tomorrow, just some quick housekeeping to clean this thing up. I don't really know how much of a recap there is to put out tomorrow. There may be a little rant. And honestly, like I'm even looking at it, I don't even know what the previews look like moving forward. I really don't know what they look like moving forward, at least for this New England game. So, and y'all looking forward to that. Y'all are, I'll just see, how I really see it appropriate. But
Okay.
anyways, man, everyone take it easy, man. Remember, man, it's all about the real ones at the end of the day. It's about people like Three Dirty. It's about people like the Dixon Way. These people who they know ball. And shout out to everyone who came through tonight. Shout out to Evan. Shout out to the Dixon Way. Everyone who was in the chat. All the support. And it's going. You know, we'll be probably back here next week. Talking about probably talking about the same thing. But appreciate y'all for the support, sticking through the stream. We'll see y'all in the next one.
All right, buddy.